Weirdo Book Club, the review for Does It Hurt by H.D. Carlton. Take 1. God, I hope that's it.
Is it really how everybody mistakes your weirdness for coolness?
Hi! Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Natalie Megan and this is Weirdo Book Club. And today we are celebrating in a way because I recently you guys helped me recently hit 30,000 subs on YouTube. Wowzers, that is a lot of people. But long before I hit this milestone, I made a promise to you that if and when I did reach 30,000 subscribers, I would read and review another H.D. Carlton book for you. And I know you guys love it when I read H.D. Carlton. That makes 30,000 of you, I guess, and one of me. So majority rules, here I am, I'm doing it.
But before we do that, let's talk about today's sponsor, Bellesa.
So you know Bellesa by now. I've talked about them before on my channel. They are the #1 by-woman company in sexual wellness, dedicated to helping everyone embrace, explore, and celebrate their sexuality. And I'm so excited to show you what we're going to be talking about today. I've got 3 toys to show you from their first collection of silent toys. Meet the Whisper Collection. So with Bellesa's new line, Whisper Tech, you never have to choose between power and discretion. So before I get into all the details, I want to show you how quiet they are, okay? Stay with me. Hello? So since I have this one out, let me tell you about it. This is the Whisper Bullet. A little something to take the edge off. 5 different vibrating settings, very discreet. And furthering that is the Whisper Tech absence of sound. There's also the Whisper Rabbit and the Whisper Vibe, which have 6 power settings. That's right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The Whisper Vibe provides G-spot stimulation, while the Whisper Rabbit has 2 different areas of stimulation, and you can use them independently of one another or together. I recommend together. On top of being super cute, super soft, and capable of getting you where you need to go, they are also all 3 rechargeable, waterproof, and quiet, so you don't have to wake up the whole house just because you need a moment with yourself. I love this collection, and that's why today I am offering you a free Whisper Vibe or a free Rose toy with any Whisper Tech purchase from Bellesa. To enjoy this deal, be sure to use my link in the description. It will take you where you need to go so that Bellesa can do the rest. And treat yourself, you deserve it. Oh, I didn't mean to point at you with it. Okay. The Whisper Tech toys will stay silent, but will you be able to say the same?
We now join our regularly scheduled programming already in progress.
So today we will be discussing Does It Hurt by H.D. Carlton, a standalone dark romance that I'm sure that you can tell I loved. And I am set. I am settled. I have my blanket. I have a pillow if I need to lie down. I am surrounded by things that make me happy. I'm even wearing a happiness sweater that I recently obtained. It's sweater weather. Oh my God. I have a water and a very delicious coffee in a very cute cup that I made. Yes, thank you for asking. You can find this and like 10 other designs in my Etsy shop. Oh my God, you didn't know I had an Etsy shop? Well, I do. I do. In a former life, I used to be an artist. I made this. I made this. I made this. I made this print here, and I made this. I also made the coffee in it. I am just making things all over the place today. But the coffee was obtained thanks to a lovely viewer named Christine who sent me a Venmo when I first announced that I was reading Does It Hurt by H.D. Carlton. And I got to a part where she brought up her favorite toe. And Christine's note on the Venmo said, quote, "For caffeine and sugar," because unfortunately H.D. Carlton brings up her favorite toe like 6 more times. So thank you for the coffee. That almost makes everything okay. Also, if you're a channel member here in the Weirdo tier, or if you're a Weirdo on my Buy and Career Patreon, you get discounts in my Etsy shop. Just saying, something to think about, especially considering all the things I do for you over here. So before we get started, I have to do the disclaimers, right? Because there's been a lot of fuss. A lot of people online don't know how to behave. So the first one's always the same here. This review will contain spoilers, opinions, general shit talking. And if that doesn't sound like something that you would enjoy, or if this is your favorite book and you don't want to hear me like take a dump on it for 2+ hours, that's okay. That's understandable. I feel like any rational thoughtful person would be like, it makes sense that you wouldn't want to sit for 2 hours and listen to someone bash your favorite book. That makes sense to me. I hope it makes sense to you. And I hope that you understand that I'm saying this with love. Like, if you don't want to hear me do that, you shouldn't stick around. I appreciate you wanting to support the channel and watch. Okay, I do. I really, really do. It means a lot. If you didn't, I wouldn't have gotten to this milestone in the first place. However, if you don't think you're going to have fun, don't watch it. It's okay. You don't have to. And no hard feelings from me. Also, just keep in mind that just because I didn't like this book doesn't mean you can't like this book. I don't control your life. Like what you want to like. Do what you want to do. As long as you're not harming anyone else, you won't hear anything from me. And, finally, this is a dark romance novel, so it's going to have some darker things. And, we'll get into that when we get to the author's note at the beginning of the book. But just for now, just keep all of those things in mind before you choose to move forward in time with me, because we're going to be here for a while, unfortunately. For me, I hope you're having fun. That's my goal. I read this so you won't have to, and I'm going to tell you all about it, and hopefully you'll love this, and I will get to be done with it. Everybody's a winner. All right, now that we've gotten those things out of the way, we can get into the details of Does It Hurt by H.D. Carlton. I've unlocked a new little tool for me to use during these things, and it's an iPad. The case I also made. I know. So Does It Hurt by H.D. Carlton is a 432 page dark romance book, first published July 2022. And great news! For those of you who don't own a copy, it's available on Kindle Unlimited. You know what? I don't want my kids in here. I don't want my kids to see this. Bye-bye. Or my grandma, my sweet grandma. No, you don't deserve this. Let's just put you face down. Here we are. Here she is. Here we go. This lovely story is told in a dual POV setup between our female main character, Sawyer, and our main male character, hunky, beefy beefcake, Enzo Vitale, who is Italian. So, the cover. On the cover, we have a woman somewhat in silhouette, and inside the cutout of her head, there is an ocean and a lighthouse that can be seen. Along with the tagline, "The beacon of light was supposed to save me." And if I'm being honest, this is a better cover than the Cat and Mouse duet, especially the redesigns. But whatever. So, are you ready for the synopsis? I know you are. Who am I? I'd forgotten the answer to that question long ago. Ever since I ran from that house so desperate to escape, I left with only the clothes on my back and socks on my feet. Clothes on your back and socks on your feet. Did you have shoes? You didn't have shoes. You said fuck shoes, Dane Cook style. Not a Dane Cook. No, I mean, you know what? Honestly, Dane Cook deserves this book. After that day, I've only ever walked in stolen shoes. Okay, I understand. Hold on. So, I haven't read the synopsis, clearly. I just threw it on here. And honestly, that always yields the best results because it's so fucking ridiculous on this side, like having finished the book. It's just like, But anyway, so the thing is that Sawyer is living on the lam. She's a criminal on the run, and she steals people's identities in order to continue moving and providing like somewhat of a livelihood for herself. That's what she does. So, stolen shoes is walking in other people's shoes. We are deep. Could I be a girl who is searching for the meaning of life in faceless men? They were all so forgettable until he came along. He took me under a waterfall and made me forget my name, and in return, I took his instead. Instead of what? Instead of what? He took me under a waterfall and made me forget my name, and in return, I took his instead. Instead of what? Enzo Vitale. Now listen, I'm going to start this over, and I'm going to do this again because I keep stopping with these little asides. But I just want you to know that I will be attempting to do some accent work today. I know how much y'all love that. But I want you to know that it's set in Australia, and I'm not very good at an Australian accent. The best research that I was able to do in the time it took for me to get all this done was to watch Our Lips Are Sealed featuring Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen.
That was easy. The first? Sure. Now what?
Down Under. That's the best I could do, and it's going to be rough, but it's going to hopefully be fun. And no disrespect is meant. I'm literally trying my best, and I just can't do it. And then the other side of that is that the main male character is Italian. And so every now and then he throws Italian words into the mix, which is super fun for me, the reader, and me, the person who's reading it to you. It's just fun all around, honestly. And that is another accent I'm not very good at, unless you count my impressions of people on the Jersey Shore. Kids here! Which is Jersian, New Jersian, not Italian, but they're, you know.
In America, Paul is like, cabs are here. In Italy, Paul would be like, taxi sono qui. Taxi sono qui.
And like Mario and Luigi from Mario Brothers.
Ravioli.
Mamma mia! Like I'm not very good at these accents. These are difficult. I'm not very good at any of the accents that I've done. Let's be real. The Southern one is the only one I'm good at, and it's because it is mine. It belongs to me. But like British, French, all of them are bad. I mean, I know y'all remember Old Bill.
There, little duck. Go to sleep. I don't know why. Huh. I don't know where that voice came from.
Old Bill from The Fucking Wrong Number. We're having so much fun. I'm so glad I hit 30,000 so we can do this again. Okay, I'm going to start the synopsis over. I'm going to shut the hell up. Who am I? I've forgotten to answer that question a long time ago. Ever since I ran from that house so desperate to escape, I left with only the clothes on my back and socks on my feet. After that day, I've only ever walked in stolen shoes. Could I be a girl who's searching for the meaning of life in faceless men? They were all so forgettable until he came along. He took me under a waterfall and made me forget my name, and in return, I took his instead. Enzo Vitale. An enigmatic man that will only ever love the deep sea, or rather the predators that inhabit it. Turns out he's not so different than the monsters he feeds. He lured me onto his boat like a fish in the ocean. He lured me onto his boat like a fish in the ocean, seeking vengeance for my crime. Had I realized his intentions and that a massive storm would leave us shipwrecked, I would have run. I would have run. Would have run. I can't help myself. Now I'm a girl who's seeking refuge in a decrepit lighthouse with a man who loathes me almost as much as he craves me. He wants to hurt me, but the old caretaker of the abandoned island may have intentions far more sinister. It's no longer a question of who I am, but rather, will I survive? Now that we're done, we did it. Would have run, not ran, would have run, yeah. And then he lured me onto his boat like a fish in the ocean. That doesn't work. I'm sitting here trying to explain why it doesn't work, and it just doesn't work. He lured me onto his boat like a fish in the ocean. He lured you the way a fish would lure you into the ocean, or he lured you onto his boat as a fisherman would pull like a big tuna up onto the boat. Like, it's not a good simile because it doesn't make any sense. Like, you could have said, like, for instance, he lured me onto his boat. No, I don't even know. First of all, I don't even know why we're giving so much shit away from this, because the synopsis could have just been like the first chunk where it says that she's a girl on the run and she steals people's identities and none of them mattered until him. And now that he found out what I did, he wants revenge. Just leave it at that. And then everything else in the book is kind of a surprise. Like, you gave away everything in the synopsis. I didn't even need to read the book. But anyway, he lured me onto his boat like a fish in the ocean. You're trying to connect those two things, and you did it horribly. This is gonna be a long ass video. So I hope you guys are happy. So he lured me like. That's what you're trying to convey, a comparison between him luring you onto the boat. And like a fish in the ocean doesn't do anything. That doesn't tell me, like, just the fish is just chilling in the ocean. And that's how he lured you onto the boat. He just sat on the boat. It doesn't make any sense. Like, you could have said anything dumb here that would have made more sense. Like, he trapped you on that boat the way he goes down into the cage to see the sharks that he loves so much. Like, that makes sense. Because the cage is a restrictive holding area that locks you inside of it and prevents you from leaving. That's also how he lured you into the boat. He trapped you on the boat. He got you onto the boat, and now you have nowhere to go. Cage, right? I don't understand the comparison that you're making, and I literally can't believe we're still talking about this. It's only the synopsis. I'm already just so, oh God. So in my script, Sweetie Angel, that I was before reading this, I wrote, I'm trying to go into this one without carrying any sort of dormant rage that I have for every other book from this author. I don't know why. When I started reading it before that even, I told myself that I should just try to let this one stand on its own and see how it feels. See how I feel. Haunting Adeline, Satan's Affair, Where's Molly, all of those, table those. That was my plan. I wanted to table it and just try to have as open of a mind as I could muster for this. Because, well, at some point, you do something so often, you've got to get better at it. Your skill level has to improve, right, in theory. And then also, there's sharks in this one. And I like sharks. I'm a 90s kid. Shark Week? Yeah, absolutely. Sign me up. But so I just wanted to, I wanted to come in this with, quote, fresh eyes and an unblackened heart. You tell me if I managed to pull that off. Okay, so the dedication reads to... I forgot about this. It's been so long because I've been sick and I've been waiting to do this review, so there's been a lot of time in between writing this script, finishing this book, and sitting here with you today. The dedication reads, to Baby Shark, step aside. Daddy Shark is here now. Again, I don't really know what you're talking about, because Baby Shark is a child, sing-song thing.
Baby shark, doo 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 doo.
Are you saying to me that you're dethroning the entity, the musical endeavor that is Baby Shark, doo 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 doo? Because Daddy Shark is here now? You dedicated the book to Baby Shark? It's not capitalized, so maybe it's not the song. Maybe you're just speaking to a random baby shark? Great, now this song's gonna get stuck in my head all day.
Baby shark, doo 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 doo.
Okay, so not only is there a playlist, I'm gonna put it on the screen for you, but even better than that, not in this book, obviously, but in the ebook, we got a link to a Pinterest board because we are being fed. Yeah. So let's go see it. Yeah. Not this big bitch. Look. Hey guys, I heard y'all talking about me. Not the your throat here tattoo on the, oh God. All this stuff and then the random social security card. Oh God. Okay. Well, that was fun, wasn't it? Thank you for that. You definitely set the scene and I caught a vibe. So now for the playlist. For the tracks that I do know on here, this definitely matches the vibe we just caught. No sweat broken here. I am really uncomfortable though that the lead track, the number one leading track after the theme song is by Ed Sheeran. So let's read the important note in the beginning of the book. This is a dark romance that contains very triggering situations such as graphic violence and gore, graphic murder, graphic language, suicide ideation, mentions of suicide, depression and anxiety, PTSD, near-death situations, stranded in the middle of the ocean. This is a dark romance that contains very triggering situations such as stranded in the middle of the ocean. I hate it when they do that! You need to say these things out loud. For the love of God, just read your own work back. You don't even want to read it back. I understand because I've read the whole thing. I understand not wanting to read it back, wanting to be done with it and move on. Believe me, I get it if no one else does. But you have to say this shit out loud. Otherwise, you end up looking ridiculous. Stranded in the middle of the ocean. Dub and non-con. Mentions of incest and pedophilia not depicted. Child abuse, mentions of rape and other form of abuse, kidnapping, and explicit situations for 18 plus. There are also particular kinks such as a big ass word I don't know how to say. Autosassinophilia, which is the arousal of the idea of being killed, sure. And breath play, degradation, and sadomasochism. I don't really know what to say about the note. It seems pretty thorough in kind of giving you a heads up of the stuff that you can expect to encounter in here. And it also gives you an idea of the terrible writing quality that you're going to encounter as well, because this contains triggering situations such as stranded in the middle of the ocean. If you just put the word being in front of it, I can't stay here. Okay, so next we have another note. You thought we were starting the book. No, you silly goose. Author's note. I did work closely with someone from Italy for all aspects concerning Enzo's culture and language, but please note that some of the translations are contextual and not literal. The translator did take some liberties as to portray the same meaning, even if they don't say the same thing literally. There is a glossary in the back of the book with the English text and these translations. Enjoy. I will say that that's true. There is a glossary in the back of the book, and it says, note, some of these are not literal translations, but contextual. Certain phrases do not have literal translations, so the translator took some liberties to make it understandable. All right. And then also, I will say another thing that I appreciated in this, if you're going to do this bullshit to me, you might as well, be thorough. While reading, a word will come up in the text, and then at the bottom of the page, so you don't have to be constantly flipping to the glossary, is the translation. So, well done. So far, we have two things that I'm giving praise for. That never happens. One, the cover isn't hideous. Two, thank you for translating the words that you decided to put in here at the bottom of the page that they appear on, so I don't have to go back and forth looking like an idiot. Once again, I want to remind you that I know that my Italian accent is going to be garbage. Just like she took liberties, or the translator took liberties to make these things contextual and not literal, I am going to take the liberty of doing my best and hoping it works for you. All right, we're finally starting. Prologue. Sawyer. We meet our main bitch at the airport where she is getting ready to board a flight for Indonesia. And as she's sitting there waiting for her plane to arrive, she notices a woman noticing her.
Notice you, noticing me.
Yeah. Art imitating life. And as someone who didn't read the synopsis beforehand, I'm like, is she a celebrity? What is this about? Why wouldn't you just take a private jet? Why are you so upset about this? We know now that we're in the future, and I've read the synopsis to you, we know that she's on the run. She's a criminal. And so, yeah, this would be a big problem. I imagine her handling this like the coolest of cucumbers, but let's see how our girl handles this situation.
All right, we got a situation.
Stop staring at me, My leg bounces profusely, and I force myself to stop for the millionth time. I'm making it obvious that I'm nervous, but how can I not be when my mother's cousin's husband's niece is staring at me? She looks like she's seen a ghost, and I practically have been for the past 6 years. Oh, that makes sense, because on the Pinterest board, there was a little image that said, I think I make a better ghost than a person. But if that were the case, I wouldn't need to get on this damn flight. We're both sitting in chairs across from each other, waiting to board a plane to Indonesia. What the hell is she going there for anyway? It's nearly Christmas, for f***'s sake. Girl, mind your business. I suppose it could be a work trip, considering she's wearing a skirt, a matching blazer, and Louboutin heels. Who travels in f***ing Louboutin heels? Doesn't matter. What matters is that she noticed me, and that's so not cool right now. Is it? Is that what it is? So not cool right now? Already I want to stop. I want to turn it off, and I want to do this another day. I can't procrastinate anymore, but I don't want to do this. She also says that she's sweating so hard that she probably has pit stains. But so does she, I notice, when she brings the phone to her ear. Sawyer, calm the down. She's already just so insufferable, which is a trait that is consistent across the board in every FMC, in every H.D. Carlton book. So at least we have consistency. So yeah, this is kind of a pickle that she's found herself in. Ironic, since I said she was probably going to be a cool cucumber. Now she's in a pickle. So she could still board the flight and then bolt when she gets there, or she could go get another flight now. So that's what she does. She just starts
Sprinting! Yes, I just gotta keep sprinting!
Across the airport. She gets a new outfit in the gift shop, changes into it, and then rushes to a desk to buy a new ticket. Frantic, somewhere else, anywhere. The only ticket that's available for her to immediately purchase right now is a flight to Australia. So she says, cool beans, and buys it. So she buys the ticket, and then she just starts
sprinting! Yes, I just gotta keep sprinting!
Hoping that she gets to the gate in time, because it's all the way across the airport. Of course it is. Wait, I shout. The employees see me coming, and I swear to God, he deserves a blowjob for kindly stepping aside and allowing me through. Does he? Is that the form of payment? I mean, it is. You are traveling abroad, so I fear that could be like a universal currency. However, Even as I run down the hallway to get on the plane, I'm checking over my shoulder. My heart refuses to return to its designated area until the plane takes off. She is so funny. If she wasn't a criminal, she could have a career as a comedian for sure. Even then, I'm waiting for air traffic control to stop the plane and tell them a fugitive is on board. So I said I wanted to go into this with fresh eyes. And I really meant it. I really did. And I was so sweet in thinking that that was going to be possible, because it's already just a fight to the death to make it through any excerpts. We've only read 2 and the synopsis. And I can't do it. It's so bad. Please be sure your heart is in the upright and locked position as we prepare for takeoff. Leave. Chapter 1. Yeah, that wasn't chapter 1. We're still just getting into the book. Dipping our favorite toe in. So that was just a warm-up, right? That's what the prologues are for. They're there to just kind of prime you for the story that's about to unfold. And that's great. Let's really get into it now. This will give us a better vantage point, a better look at our FMC. Cancer tastes like shit. I never had cancer, thankfully, but I didn't know it had a taste. I suck in deeply, menthol gliding past my tongue. Oh, right. That's why there were cigarettes on the Pinterest board. I suck in deeply, menthol gliding past my tongue and filling my lungs with manufactured chemicals. How many of these do I have to smoke before cancer invades my cells, metastasizing until I'm ridden with disease? Ridden? Ridden? Surely not. Ridden. Is that right? I'd like to phone a friend. I'm calling Rachel.
Hello.
Hi, I am recording my Does It Hurt video, and I have used my phone a friend feature.
Okay.
So I just need to read you something. She's smoking a cigarette, our main character. And
Fantastic.
how many of these do I have to smoke before cancer invades my cells, metastasizing until I'm ridden with disease?
That, I don't even know how to begin trying to diagram that sentence. What's the subject again?
How many
I
of
don't
these
understand what you just read.
So my main thing that I'm hung up on, it's horrible, first of all, but ridden with disease. I thought it was riddled.
I think it might be both. Hold on. I'm using my phone a friend.
Just call someone else and then we'll all be on here.
Let's do three-way calling like back in middle school.
Okay, I'll hold and then you click over.
Yes, ridden work.
All right.
To Oxford English Dictionary.
Well, that's stupid, but fine. If Oxford says, then Oxford goes.
Yes. What's your secondary? Do we want to talk about subject and verb? Because I feel a little lost on the sentence.
Oh, well, while I have you here, actually, let me go back. Everybody tell Rachel congrats on 100,000 subs. Whee!
Thank you. Carlos got me a cake. I'm about to eat it for breakfast.
Man, I wish. Okay, so here's the trigger warnings. This is a dark romance that contains very triggering situations such as graphic violence and gore, graphic murder, graphic language, stranded in the middle of the ocean.
One of these things is not like the other.
I had such a hard time getting through this. I've been recording for an hour and a half, and I'm on chapter 1. I'm coughing and I'm dying.
What?
Yes!
Oh my god, I thought I heard you wrong at first.
No, chapter 1.
Jesus, Natalie.
Yeah, well, I give the people what they want.
Alright, I'm still hung up on that sentence. I'm sorry.
Well, you know what? You are welcome to borrow this if you want it.
Oh, that's so sweet of you.
All right, well, I'm going to get back to it, but thank you for helping me learn.
Have fun, everybody. Have a great time.
Thanks, Rach.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, I digress. We'll continue. My throat tightens and revolts against the tobacco, forcing out a harsh cough. I pull the cigarette away and stare at it, my face twisted in disgust as smoke filters out of my nose and mouth. I rock my hand, viewing it from different angles. I wish I would have gotten cigarettes for this. Maybe there's still time. A bright orange glow radiates from the tip, gray ash eating at the paper. Fire is on the tip, flaring as if it to entice me to wrap my lips back around it. Nope. Still isn't appealing. Okay, so don't smoke. What kind of horse shit is this? And also, why are you mansplaining what a lit cigarette in your hand looks like to me? Do you think I can't conjure that image up myself? This is what I'm talking about when I tell you. You can tell when an author thinks that you, the reader, are a big old dum-dum. Because, first of all, is this supposed to be poetic? I don't want to live in her brain anymore. Fire is on the tip, flaring as if to entice me to wrap my lips back around it. The fire? Fire on the tip, flaring to entice me to wrap my lips back around it. Wrap your lips around the fire? This is... She's sitting there smoking, saying, cancer tastes like shit. She's so funny. She's so quirky and cool, and a whip as quick as all get out. I don't even know how she manages to live with herself. Cancer tastes like shit because she's smoking a cigarette. And then she goes on to mansplain it to us and then talk about how it's still not appealing for me to smoke. Then don't do it. A tanned muscular arm reaches out to take the ciggy from her before she wastes it. And then she spends a minute and a half wondering if sand is flammable. You're so far away and I need somebody to hold on to. Where's Big Bird? I got this for my first birthday and he's still kicking. I need to give him a zhuzh, like wash him and make him a little bit more lively looking. But you know, I mean, we're old. We're the same age. That did help actually. God, this is gonna be a long day. I frown. Let me hide my feet. Y'all don't get feet content from me. Sign up for my binder and maybe I'll consider it. I frown. How flammable is sand? I'm sorry. How flammable is sand? I bet not at all. It's too dense. Nothing to feed the oxygen. Again, I don't know what you mean. Oxygen feeds the flame. We're not feeding the oxygen. Okay, I know what you're trying to say. Yeah, I understand, but you... I'm gonna start over. I frown. How flammable is sand? I bet not at all. It's too dense. Nothing to feed the oxygen. Not unless I pour gasoline all over it. I bet it'd make the beach prettier though. Fire on the shoreline of a vast blue ocean. Who wouldn't want to see that? Anyway, back to the tanned muscle bob buff pants. I look over to the guy sitting next to me. His overgrown sandy hair curls against the nape of his neck, and the dagger tattoo behind his ear is alluring against his sun-kissed skin. All of his tattoos are. He's covered in them. I still don't know his name, but his cock is nice, and that's all that really matters, is it? Well, that and his murderous nicotine. He's not the type I usually go for, but I was feeling lonely and entertained the first guy who didn't make me nauseous. After this delicious bit of words, she just asks him what kind of cancer he thinks she'll get from the cigarette. And he's like, I don't know, love. He's lung too typical. Maybe throat. That's not right. I don't know, love. He's lung too typical. Maybe throat. I don't think they say that. I think that's British. We're blending things, but I'm doing my best. But anyway, wait, hold on. My camera's saying something. What did you say? Oh, 10% battery already. But yeah, no, we definitely don't want a typical cancer. Cancer, probably. She's like, so do you think you'll like die? He's like, I fucking hope so, mate. To this, she nods knowingly and then takes her cigarette back, inhaling deeply. We get it. You want to die. The cigarette has more appeal now that it might kill her. You knew that. This is the most try-hard, like you already knew that it could kill you. That's what the whole cancer tastes like shit internal monologue was about. But you're putting this show on for this guy. It's a cry for help. The whole book is, really. And like, listen, 19-year-old me, who was deeply mentally ill and used to pretend to smoke cigarettes just to look cooler because I didn't actually want lung cancer or anything. I just wanted to look cool. I would have ate this up. This would have been, oh my God, me, oh my God. But 19-year-old me was a mentally ill mid pick-me bitch. 37-year-old me is just, I can feel the migraine. My migraine, probably. She looks out at the ocean with a lung full of cancer and starts thinking about the ocean. The ocean is beautiful, but unforgivable.
Hello from the void. I am just popping in here real quick because unforgivable in this context is not correct. It's supposed to be unforgiving. The sea and the cancer stick and I myself am unforgiving. Unforgivable would imply that the ocean needs to apologize for something and it can't be forgiven even if it does apologize. Yeah, I just wanted to let you know that I know so that you know that I know that it's supposed to be unforgiving and it's not, which is literally unforgivable. Okay, bye.
In a second, it can swallow you up. And cigs are also unforgivable. I decide I like the ocean and I like cigarettes because I am also unforgivable. I agree. And we only just met. Okay, so the next thing we jump forward a little bit, and the next thing we see is her at a store buying cigs and a pregnancy test. Whoa! She talks a bit about how she saw on the news that she was spotted in an airport, and like at this point, again, I didn't read the synopsis, I didn't really know what the fuck was going on, so I wrote, who the fuck is she? Carmen Sandiego?
Where in the world is
Carmen Sandiego.
She then tells us about the sleepy little beach town that she's hunkered down in. It's called Port Vallon, and when I googled it, it pulled up the Pathfinder wiki, and I know nothing about this, and I want to keep it that way, so moving on. She pays for her goods and then plasters a smile on her numb face, and then goes into heavy detail, kind of explaining the word numb. Like when she was a little girl, her mom took her to the dentist and they gave her lidocaine, and how she used to giggle at the sensation, but she doesn't feel like giggling anymore. Me neither. Thanks, ho. I knew what numb meant. She's totally bugging because she can't be a mother right now. I can barely take care of myself. You said it. Yeah, I agree. She floors it out of the store, almost breaking her dollar flip-flops in half with her clip-clop, clip-clop. She beelines it to the bus stop bench, thinking that heaven must have her on their shit list, which is totally unfair. But she can't blame the angels for rebuking her name. What the are you talking about? Shut up, I beg you. Anyway, we have a meet cute of epic proportions on the way. So I hope that you're ready for this because we have an old Bill character that shows up, except this guy's name is Simon. So she's sitting there and she's noting all of the circumstances. She's kind of an emotional mess, of course. And then she also notices magpies circling overhead and tells us that she knows better than to trust them because they attack for no reason. Okay. As she's sitting there thinking that she should have driven her busted up VW bug, senile Susie instead, but she doesn't have her license and that would just be a whole other problem. And driving on the other side of the road, she just never really got used to it. None of this is important. Bonk. Stop talking. But just as she goes to stick a ciggy in her mouth, she realizes that she didn't buy a lighter, but thank all the gods, female and otherwise, because old Simon is on the scene. He is a nice older gentleman and he offers to light her cigarette for her with an orange lighter, almost as bright as my flip-flops. If you don't shut the... Name Simon, smells like Old Spice and salt. And for some reason, she just instantly feels safe with him. He feels like what a home should feel like. It's been 4 seconds, 10 seconds max. Chill. He randomly asks her if she'd like to see his new tattoo, to which she says she would love to. Oh my God. So he rolls up his cargo shorts and a little tattoo, like stick and poke looking thing is on his leg and it just says, "Fuck you." Oh my God, I love that. Probably more than my favorite toe. Did that hurt? Cheers to Christine once again.
Gravy break.
He's just as thrown as I am, so he's like, I don't know what that means. She then holds up her motherfucking foot to this stranger that she just met, points to her pinky toe, and says, "It's really cute, don't you think? Don't you think? Do you ever think? I'm never gonna make it through this." Anyway, he leans in and gets a gander at her grippers and then says, "You're right, I love it too. Everybody in this book deserves to go to hell." Then she continues to be super normal and chill about his tattoo. Oh my God, I love it. Like she's thinking it in her mind. I love it. Okay, to each their own. And he says that he did it himself. It's a stick and poke. Yeah, it's just revolutionary. And asks if she wants one. And she could use a little more reckless decisions in her life. I disagree. But she's all, hell yeah, what do you want in exchange? And he's like, how about that packet of cigs? And she thinks to herself that he probably noticed the pregnancy test and is trying to get the cigarettes away from her to keep her and her potential fetal collab safe. Imagine thinking so much of yourself. Anyway, she requests the exact same tattoo because the idea of matching, having a matching tattoo with this haggard beach bum of a man just warms her heart. And honestly, mine too. Wait, I think that's just indigestion. And she loves the tattoo anyway because you is her daily mantra. A mantra, as far as my understanding of it goes, is meant to be something you repeat to yourself frequently so that it can begin to manifest in your life. Your mantra is fuck you. Who's you? Who are we fucking?
Oh, I'm edgy. I'm on fire.
And as he preps for giving her this tattoo, he mentions that he's using octopus ink. Quote, the best ink you can get. And I don't know what he's talking about, so I had to crowdsource this. And I did. I reached out to my darling, talented friend, Clover. They are a tattoo artist based in Chicago currently, and they did my tattoo for my grandpa and several of Hannah's tattoos too. And I was like, what's all this about? What is octopus? What is it? I also Googled, and the only thing I could find as far as octopus ink, tattooing ink, was a brand, an Amazon brand. And from what Clover said, it's like every tattooer has their specific things that they like, as every artist does. Any person who works in a creative medium has their preferred like methods and tools and things that they use in order to make their art come to life. And so it's really dependent on the tattooer, the kind of ink that they use. It's not like the best, whatever. And there is such a thing as like doing a tattoo with squid ink in some cultures, but they have never heard of octopus ink except for the aforementioned Amazon brand. So what the are you talking about? And please, if you know something we don't, leave it in the comments below. But you know what? It doesn't matter because our girl loves this idea. Oh my God. She's always loved octopi, and maybe having some of their ink injected into her skin will give her the ability to disappear the way they do. But sigh, this isn't a movie, so now she secretly resents the octopus. You are such a loser. A crowd gathers to watch this zany little scene unfold at the bus stop, and honestly, she thinks this is better than sex because this makes her forget. 25 minutes flew by, and oh my God, the tattoo is perfect. Perfectly imperfect, like all the best things in the world. Stupid.
Or is it slow?
The bus is here, thank God, and Simon gets up to leave on foot, and she's like, you're not waiting for the bus? Why did you approach me then? And he's like, you look like you could use a friend. Like that accent found its way. Sigh again. She's gonna miss him, oh my God. And he's like, our paths will cross again. It's like, whatever.
Life's funny like that, ain't it?
I'm literally not good at this. This is not the right accent. I know that. So feel free to just delete the text you have typed out in the comment box. I know it's not right. She boards the bus, waves goodbye to old down under Bill Simon, and tells us that pretty soon she won't be Sawyer Bennett anymore. She will be someone who wishes they never met her. And, honestly, I don't like that her name is Sawyer and Bennett because it makes me think of Tom Sawyer and Elizabeth Bennet. Chapter 2 is Sawyer, or should I say Jamie, because that's the new identity that she has swiped. She's at a bar because, she's not pregnant, so she's here for a bev. And the bartender is looking at her ID that says her new name. He mentions that she doesn't look 29, and she gets all bent out of shape about it. How dare he say that when she's actually 28? Insulting. I force a smile. I'm terribly sorry for not passing your standards of what a woman of 29 years should look like. Thank my skincare routine. Can I have my drink now? Honestly, service workers do not get paid enough to deal with your bullshit. They might in Australia, but still, shut the fuck up. What do you mean you're upset that he thought you didn't look 29? You're 28. So since she's not pregnant, praise be, she immediately went and got an IUD. There will be no babies for me. And the more she says it, the more uncomfortable I am. So here's her talking a little bit about her process of stealing an identity. Okay, you ready? All of my victims are men, and most of them have unisex names, making it easier to impersonate them. I've also slept with almost every one of them. So, is that not to knock your whole methodology here, but is it necessary to sleep with all of them? You could just, never mind. I didn't really want to. Okay, some I didn't really want to, and my skin crawled with every touch, but it was necessary to take what I needed. I don't have the skills to do it online, so the good old fashioned way is my only method, and in order to get close enough to obtain their private information, they have to take me home. Yeah. They have to take you home. You don't have to sleep with all of them, especially since you said you don't really want to. You could just get them to take you home, get them drunk. You don't get drunk. That way you can need to use the restroom, steal their identity, slip out. Am I the dumb one? Am I the one that's dumb and not getting it? Because that's always an option. I could get a job, but that would mean either stealing the identity of a dead person that no one knows is dead or using my real name. And both make me want to
vomit.
If I'm being honest, stealing other people's lives to begin with makes me want to die. I'm a shit person, no doubt about that, but I'm not a sociopath either. I don't lack empathy, and I'm not guilt-free. Nevertheless, no one can know where I am, who I am, so no, I can't sleep at night, nor do I look myself in the mirror. But I'm doing what I can. The only thing I know how to do to survive. I didn't ask, why are you breaking the fourth wall to talk to me? So no, I can't sleep at night. Who asked you that? Who fucking asked? I don't give a shit. Yeah, I don't care. The bartender, as you can probably imagine, doesn't like her. And she picks up on this because the girl is sharp as a tack, okay? She's like, what's the deal? Why don't you like me? I can't imagine what his answer would be, but I definitely didn't expect him to say that she gives off feral dog energy. That's a roast. He says that, he drops that banger line, roast mode, and then goes to serve literally anyone else in the bar, which is no one except a strange, dark, handsome man that approaches her from the back or whatever. I don't know. She turns to look at him and says out loud, "Nope, I could get pregnant just looking at you. Go away." Now, it's been a long time since I've been in the dating game and in the flirting mindset or whatever, but like, once again, she's 28, and don't get me wrong, I like men a decent amount, but I would rather eat my own toenails while base jumping straight into hell than to say this to a man out loud. The secondhand embarrassment that I am currently wrestling with is definitely winning. I don't do well with such goofy, mortifying behavior. And I know that it's supposed to make her seem she speaks her mind. She's outgoing, she's loud, and she doesn't give a fuck who hears. Her mantra is fuck you, for crying out loud. But what it actually gives is just a thick serving of like nasty secondhand embarrassment. You are so goddamn embarrassing. Get out. She looks at him some more and they exchange some words, and he has a very thick accent and some of the most delicious arms that she's ever seen. She continues to lust over him in her mind and thinks to herself that he looks like the dangerous type that would wear her out. I'm worn out, but not in a fun way. Then she, no shit, leans over to him and sniffs him like a dog and says, "You smell good too. Go away." He doesn't get away, go away, and just stays. And then we get this description. The bartender said I was dangerous, but this man embodies danger. His hair is buzzed close to the scalp, short little spikes that would probably feel incredible against my hands. Hazel eyes with a dark splotch on the right one and deeply tanned skin. A light dusting of hair is scattered across his sharp jawline, accentuating the near criminal look he's got going on. Body of a Greek god? Check. Could ruin my life with just the tip? Check. Has a permanent scowl and carries himself like he hates the world? Just fuck me already. That's not a bit I'm doing. That's what it says. There's nothing subtle, mysterious, like alluring about this girl. She's literally a try-hard, pick-me bitch the whole time. We're just getting started. Oh, my favorite toe! Anyway, I just really hate this woman. Like, it's supposed to be like quirky and cute, I'm sure, but it just gives cringe. That's all it is. It's so embarrassing. Especially for to be coming out of the mouth of an almost 30-year-old. She tells the bartender who hates her that this man, Enzo, is bothering her and she's scared for her life. She's so funny. She's so funny. The bartender rolls his eyes and leaves. Enzo's like, "Man, he hates you." And she's like, "Yeah, and I wouldn't hurt a fly." And then inside she sighs deeply and is like, "In reality, I've hurt so much more than flies." She doesn't say that, but like she's thinking about all the people that she has hurt. They end up having a drink together, her and Enzo, and she is just yapping away. And as a yapper, I know that can be a thing that happens. You just kind of get carried away and just don't stop talking. But knowing her, the little bit of her that I have gotten to know, that I just bet that this is just so delightful. Engaging, smart, witty, flirty, a little deep at times. Like the perfect balance of everything, really. That's the quintessential energy that comes from every H.D. Carlton book is balance. Yeah. Enzo mentions that he works with sharks and she's like, "Oh my God, they eat people." Again, just so balanced and chill and subtle and delightful to be around. He's like, "No, they don't. You have a better chance of getting in a car crash than being attacked by a shark." To which she says, "Really, that lame old statistic? They say that with everything." I deepen my voice mockingly and say,
"You're more likely to get in a car accident than a plane crash."
Why don't you make it more interesting and say, "You're more likely to get killed by a falling coconut"?
You think you just fell out of a coconut tree?
smiles at this because he's never spoken to another person before, I guess. And oh my God, he has dimples. Not cool, man. Not cool. Is it? Is it not cool? I would argue none of this is cool. They talk a little bit more about sharks, and he hoods his eyes at a certain point, which makes her thighs ache from having to keep them clenched all night long. What is this? This has never happened to me. Like, am I just not living? Am I not living correctly? Like, I have never been, and I've been in some situations, I have never been in a public place where I need to conceal my arousal so badly that I have to clench my thighs together in order to appear unbothered. I'm just thinking about, hold on. No, I just exist. The things that happen to people with my setup that get aroused is mostly undetectable if you're wearing like clothes, sitting in a dark bar, in a corner booth where no one's looking at you, tucked away. Like it's mostly undetectable. It's not the same as with people who have a penis where it's like at full attention and you have to like conceal the so that you don't give it away. Like this is not, I just don't really understand why this is something that always comes up. It's not just H.D. Carlton that does it too. It's like, I'm so horny, I have to clench my thighs to hide my arousal. I could be aroused right now. I am. No, I could be though, and you would not know as long as I know how to fucking be cool. And I would argue that if you start, you're gonna give it away, which goes against the whole point of the clenching of the fucking thighs. You're so goddamn stupid. Anyway, they keep drinking and chatting, and he like really draws her in, you know? He stares deeply into my eyes when I speak. I've never felt so heard. The best part, he doesn't offer unsolicited advice or lackluster comfort. He just listens. And attentively at that. Like the next thing out of my mouth just might be a cure for cancer. Too bad. I am the cancer. Math word problem time. Okay. Love an iPad moment. So if you are the cancer, right? And cancer tastes like shit, one can draw the conclusion that you taste like shit. Wasn't that fun? They keep talking and she spills that like it's just her whole family is gone, even her twin brother. Her parents got killed by a drunk driver. They were drunk and fighting, and boom, they dead. She's alone. He's like, come on, I want to show you something. I'm Italian, right? I forgot. Mamma mia. Come on, I want to show you something. I don't know. Anyway, she's like, okay, and is bitchy to him about it. And he's like, you don't have to go if you don't want to go. You're a big girl. And like, oh my God, she loves that he's mean to her. Why does she love it? I don't know. Unpack it. Because just a few minutes ago, the bartender insinuating that you look young for your age was just the highest offense that you could ever see. So I don't know. I don't know why you like it. And stop asking me things. Chapter 3 is Sawyer. And we start off this chapter with a really deep philosophical moment that really showcases the inner depths of these characters. Why do people say the universe makes them feel small, but never say that about waterfalls?
Probably because they feel waterfalls can be conquered, but no one will ever conquer the universe.
Riveting. Anyway, that's where he brought her. A waterfall. Clearly not a TLC fan.
Go chasing waterfalls.
Right. But hooray, how fun. They're going swimming together in a little lagoon or whatever. I need sustenance. Fishing out his wallet, Enzo tosses it to the ground before reaching behind his head, grabbing the back of his shirt and pulling it off. My mouth dries as he drops the material to the wet rock, wondering how he can make it so a stone retains moisture better than me. Something about porosity. I do not get it. Also, if you're retaining moisture, or no, if you aren't retaining moisture, wouldn't that then make you dry? Like,
You gotta think here, pal.
Like, I don't understand. Like, what is that even what are you talking about? He puts his shirt onto the wet rock and she says, I wonder how he can make it so a stone retains moisture better than me. That means holds the moisture in. So I guess I understand what you're talking about. Like, retains it, keeps it, right? So you're not keeping it because you're a rushing waterfall yourself. But it doesn't really, why would him putting a shirt on the rock do that? I don't know what you're trying to say, and I'm sick of trying to figure it out. Wondering how he can make a stone retain moisture better than me. So the rock is keeping its moisture better than you. So does that then mean that you are dry? I know what you're trying to say, but you did it wrong, and stop it. If you can't write complex sentences with complex ideas and comparisons and metaphors, don't. I'm begging, I'm pleading. I'm pleading. That's a joke you'll get later. She's stunned over how hot he is and begs him to put his shirt back on, to which he just replies by diving into the water. And that leaves her feeling that if she dives in right after him, she'll die of electrocution because that's how hot he is. It's electrifying. God, I wish. Also, like electricity, I think is hot, but just because something is hot doesn't mean it's electrifying. This is another one of those complex ideas that it's clear you don't really have a firm grasp or understanding on. A hot thing does not necessarily mean it is also electrifying. So like fire, it's hot. It's not electrical, you know? When I was sick and I had a fever, I was hot. I was not electrifying. If you can't write it, don't. Stop. Now that he's submerged, she takes a second to take in her surroundings and the breathtaking view. Briefly considers swinging on a vine into the water, something she's always wanted to do. And then he reemerges and asks if she's coming in, and she's like, only if you promise not to touch me. To which he says, I won't do anything that you don't beg me to do. Okay. I slide my fingers over the fresh tattoo on my thighs. It's only been a couple of days and I'm risking infection by getting in the water, but not getting in it and never finding out what will happen behind the waterfall feels worse. Call me when you get sepsis and say that again. So she does get in, but she doesn't Tarzan her way in. She cannonballs and then tells us that most girls would probably like sexily saunter into the water, but she is not most girls. Can you believe that? I was not picking up on that. What, like, did you get that? She dives in and, you know, goes under the waterfall and emerges to find him sitting back there, wet and glistening and retaining all sorts of moisture. She goes on about how hot he is, blah, 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 you know, and then she kind of like slinks over a little bit, but keeping her distance at the same time. She's getting closer and she's like, is this the part where you take me out? And he's like, would anybody be looking for you? And she says yes, giggling at the inside joke that only she is a part of. Well, her and us now, we have an inside joke with Sawyer Bennett. Isn't that swell? Then they chat about her initial thoughts when she first saw him. He brings up that dumb pregnancy joke that she made. Nope, you could get me pregnant just by looking at me. Go away. You remember? Of course you do. At him saying this back to her, she thinks to herself and us that she's never wanted kids, but when a man this hot says it, doesn't matter if you want kids or not, your panties immediately melt at the thought. Not if you don't want kids and or have a breeding kink, you dumbass. She corrects him though, and she says, actually, I was thinking that you could ruin me with just the tip. Stop saying things to men out loud. You couldn't pair of anguish me into admitting this out loud to a man that I just met. Girl, stand up. It's humiliating. It's oh God. And then he says, what makes you think I'd fuck you? Which honestly, double dose of humiliation. Sick burn, Enzo. Way to go. Bump this. Almost 20,000 people highlighted the next thing I'm about to read to you. Are you ready? He says,
you're going to ruin me too. But unfortunately for you, that's where I feel most at home.
I guess he means he feels home in ruin, but that's not what he said. He used ruin as a verb, not a noun. So you're going to ruin me too. But unfortunately for you, that's where I feel most at home. Where? Where do you feel? Where? It's unclear. He goes on to say to her that if anything were to happen, it's just for the night. And she looks up at him through her lashes in some sort of way and agrees. Deal! How do you do that? Hold on. I put mascara on and it's very clumpy, so just bear with me. I'm gonna go here. Hi. Imagine I'm under a waterfall with you, okay? I don't know. It's like, how is it sexy to look through your eyelashes up at somebody? Because like, if I'm looking up at you, my eyelashes aren't in the way. So that would mean that I would have to be like closing my eyes a little bit and looking up at you. It's just not a visual that I wanted, but since I had to have it, now so do you. You're welcome, I guess. Let me stand up. So she moves closer to him and pushes herself up so that they're like eye to eye.
You, me, we're face to face, but we don't see eye to eye.
Like fire and rain, drive me insane. Okay, literally. And again, she notices the dark spot on his eye and says that it's almost like ink was blobbed in there. See, she almost gave us heterochromia again, but she pulled back. And now he's just got a blobby eye. And also, I didn't need you to tell me that because I kind of understood what you meant when you said it looked like an ink drop in his eye earlier. You didn't have to continue to tell me that it looks like a blobby droplet of ink. I know you already said that. She asks him to kiss her first so that he can prove that he knows what he's doing because she's so damn tired of men not knowing what they're doing. And I feel like that doesn't make a whole lot of sense because the only man that we've gotten an inside scoop on the interaction with so far, she said he had like an amazing dick. And how that's the only thing that matters is that he has a good dick. She didn't know his name, remember? It's just he has a good dick and that's all that matters. Does nothing that you like set up for your character actually ever matter? Like you just say shit and then completely disregard it when the plot beckons you to. Like it just, whatever. Anyway, she says, if you don't know how to fuck me with your mouth, then you won't know how to use your dick either. And this is quite simply not always true. You can be really good at kissing, really bad at the love making, really, really good at the horizontal tango, really, really, really bad kisser. Like I've had all of these situations come up. They don't align all the time. And it's like, whatever. He says he's not going to be kissing her here. Ugh, help me. And then he also says that he's not going to do anything to her, remember that she didn't beg him to. So I guess she has to beg. But she doesn't beg. She just tells him to, and he slips on down there. And it seems like, yeah, she's retaining moisture. She's excreting moisture. She is moisture.
Damn! You taste better than the sweetest wine, and I could f***ing drink you forever.
He tosses her salad a bit while he's down there. I mean, why make two trips, you know, when you can just make the one? And she's enjoying it. She's living, obviously. But she's also like a little shyer than usual because it's Enzo, you know, and I don't, and neither do you because you just met him, but okay. And he is crushing this. I mean, like quite literally because she's like literally hissing and spraying everywhere, if you get me. Squirt gun in it. She's super soaking it.
This is one of the world's most powerful soak guns.
She also kind of spoon-fed this whole squirt gunning thing to us. What a sentence. Like, oh, God. I feel something building, but I also feel like I need to pee. Like, yeah, okay, Christ. Is this a guide, a how-to guide for first-timers? Leave me be. And then, listen, remember where they're at, okay? Because next, she notices a pool of liquid in his hand glistening, and it's all over his face. And she's so embarrassed by how wet he is. Where are they? Question for the group. Chat. Where are they? Correct. They're in a body of water. Both have been submerged in it. They are soaking wet, retaining moisture.
And I'm loving it.
I've never squirted before, and the experience was as otherworldly as others have claimed. Good for you. He's like, yeah, do it on my dick now. She's like stunned because he wants her to reach climax more than once. Oh my God, he exists? A man like this exists? For someone who as many people as she's led us to believe that she does, she seems incredibly inexperienced and or stupid. Porque no los dos. But hey, listen. It was the heat of the moment. And we don't want to do anything to lose that momentum, that tension, right? We don't want to kiss it goodbye just yet. We want to hold on to that passion. We want to lock it in. So he takes her top off, cups her in his hands, and says, beautiful. To which she says, thank you. I grew them myself. He ignores her, God, I wish I could, and continues popping her into his mouth or whatever. He pulls away with a curse, you know, fuck Bella. You know, he starts calling her Bella. He doesn't start here, but he does. Just be prepared. And she responds by making a joke about erectile dysfunction, and man, she's funny. But the real reason he pulled away in a huff? No condom. She lets him know in a completely ignorant H.D. Carlton kind of a way that she doesn't have any STIs or STDs. And he's like,
I always ram it before I tap it. But maybe just this once.
He doesn't say that, but basically, I'm paraphrasing here. Chapter 4 is Sawyer. He's like, I'm good too, so let's get that back cracking, you know? Not only is he long, but he is also thick with, quote, veins threading throughout the length. And I know what she means. But I can't help but picture them like threading in and out, like a sewing project gone wrong. On the, like, veins on the inside and the outside. Like, it sounds like bro has a medical condition. Ew, yuck, let's leave. She says out loud upon seeing, you know, the beast unleashed, that she has now changed her mind because, quote, that thing will puncture a lung. And again, ma'am, may I call you ma'am? Have a little dignity, just a little bit. At least play medium difficult to get. Medium difficult. It's not just something. Ugh. He does only give her the tip, which I find to be hilarious imagery. He's just chilling like this. You said I would ruin you with just a tip. Are you ruined, Bella? He doesn't say that. And character acting, okay? This is method at this point. She goes in for a kiss because she can play at that game, but he doesn't let her kiss him. It's like a whole thing that he doesn't want to kiss her. He withholds it from her. So that's embarrassing also, LOL. So instead of kissing him, she just hits the DJ booth. You're with me. She doesn't need him, and to this, he makes some sort of a noise. I don't know. And she says, strength doesn't only reside in our muscles, but in our minds too. And men, theirs are so easy to bend. When the people in question have minds made of those like arts and crafts kindergarten pipe cleaner thingies, you're right, they are easy to bend. I know that this is like sexy time. Like, we're like neck deep in a body of water and also sexy time, but this is like the least sexy thing I've ever read. All of it. It's not doing what you think it did. It's not giving what you thought it gave. With his guard down, she too slams herself down onto him, taking a lot more than just the tip, and he says, the thing. Yeah. Does it hurt, Bella? And she's like, you're so big. And it's tired. I'm tired. It's so boring. This is boring, and it only continues to be boring. And I gotta tell you, I am out here looking for romance novels with perfectly average sized dicks because I'm so overhearing how huge the goddamn ding dong is. Ding dong, the dick is big. Which old dick? The biggest dick. Yes, we know, okay? I know. She jackhammers. She's on top now. She's like jackhammering him. And all I can picture, she's like crouched. And so all I can picture is like the demon on the woman's chest from the painting The Nightmare. He calls her a good girl and then also mutters some stuff in Italian that according to Google Translate means, just like that, beautiful. Damn, you make me enjoy it so much. He keeps doing his thing, calling her Bella while he does. She's doing her thing. I don't know. Somebody's doing a thing to somebody, and he keeps calling her Bella, which is Italian for beautiful. I know this for two reasons. One, Twilight. Bella. And two, because when Casey Anthony unalived her daughter, allegedly, she was found not guilty in a court of law. Right, sure, we know. Just a couple of days after her 2-year-old daughter went missing, she got a tattoo that said La Bella Vita, which means the beautiful life. And I really know that because of Nancy Grace, if we're being honest.
The devil is dancing tonight.
She suddenly and urgently feels the need to release her bladder again, and how sexy is that?
How hot is this?
She's like, oh God, Enzo, I'm about to arrive again. And Enzo's like,
God and my name do not belong in the same sentence. Bella. One is holy and one is depraved.
I would argue that both are depraved, but I will leave that alone. He curls his fingers past my lips with his free hand and hooks them around my bottom teeth, pulling my unfocused stare to his, a snarl on his face. He literally fish hooks her, which is illegal. It's an illegal move. No. If you thought talking about needing to piss was sexy, just wait till he reels you in like a trout. She arrives. It's epic. It's earth-shattering. Blah, blah, blah. He tells her to, quote, keep milking every last drop. Barf. I hate it when they say that. And she says, or tells us, he pulls me toward him further by my jaw, like reeling in a fish on a hook. Yeah, that simile works, as opposed to he lures me onto his boat like a fish in the ocean. Pulls me towards him by my jaw like a fish on a hook. That makes sense. The boat thing doesn't. I gotta learn to let it go. They're done, but not really. But I wish we were. And he invites her back to his place. She accepts, but isn't happy about it because she knows how this will end. So it seems weird to me that she set this up, that if she needs to steal someone's identity, she has to sleep with them, even though she doesn't want to. And then also, on the flip side, if she sleeps with someone, she has to steal their identity. And I really just don't think, I think that if we used any sort of cellular activation in our brains, just for maybe 10 minutes, we sit down and we brainstorm our way around these things, we could probably figure out a system in which we do this without having to fuck people we don't want to. And also being able to people we do want to without making them a victim of a crime. But we're in an H.D. Carlton book, and thinking is not allowed. Chapter 5 is Sawyer. The next morning, she wakes up in his bed. He's still sleeping next to her, and she feels stormy inside, despite the sun breaking through the clouds. While he's asleep, she slinks out of his bed and into his office and starts rooting around through his stuff because she's going to steal his identity, because apparently it's a rule that she has to. If she throws him some puss, she has to steal his identity. I don't know. He doesn't wake up when she leaves the bed, and who could blame him? The man was insatiable. The man was relentless and insatiable. See, I told you. His fingers and tongue were in places that have never been touched before, and even thinking about it now has my face burning hot. Burning up you, baby. What places? Did he like fish hook the underside of your eyelid? Did he shave a section of your hair off and then like lick the spot like a rocket pop? Like what places? His tongue and fingers were places that you have never been touched before. Again, she just seems really inexperienced for all the sex that she claims to be having with all these people that she steals their identity from. Aside from really doing some abstract shit like I just mentioned, like there's really only a few places you can go. As she's stealing his identity, she thinks that she's gonna miss him. She goes through, she's looking through all the stuff. She does find like paperwork that is not relevant, but I guess it is. I don't know. None of this is relevant. This book sucks. That say Vors at the top, VORS. And then she takes a minute to like look around his home. He lives in a beautiful home, lots of white with brown wooden beams lining the walls and across the ceiling. I was surprised to find that Enzo has good taste and interior design skills. Almost as surprised as he was when he discovered my lack of a gag reflex. Ba-dum-bum. So fun. So cute. Whatever. So she takes pictures of the docs that she needs in order to steal his identity, vowing to do everything she can to never see him again. Fast forward through time a little bit. She's back at her hotel, bleaching her hair when there is a knock on the door, and she grabs her piece that's totally hot. She stole it. And she tells us in incredible detail just exactly how. That was me summing it up for you. And you don't have to thank me. But if you want to, you should sign up for my Mindry. Cheers. It turns out that the person knocking was knocking on someone else's door, so she started panicking for nothing. So she chills the fuck out and goes to resume her makeover in the bathroom. Cigarette and vodka as she waits for the color to lift. When she achieves the correct hue of hair, she hops in the shower, feeling a little tipsy as she does, washes the product out, and then goes to dry herself off. You know how showers work. I crank off the water and stumble out of the shower, snatching a towel on my way out. I wrap it around me, the material nice and scratchy. So much better than the fluffy soft shit. She's not like regular girls. She likes to dry herself off with sandpaper. Nothing soft about this girl except maybe her... Anyway, she gets out, she dries off, she looks at herself in the mirror and she's not alone. She is, but it's basically the ghosts of haunting Adeline, which are nowhere to be found. They're not there. They're barely a whisper of a plot point. They don't, who gives a shit? But anyway, she is hallucinating her assumedly dead twin. Not only can she see him, but she can hear him too. So she's having a conversation with a man who is not really there. I win, not you. I should have eaten you in the womb type shit. He even responds to her and calls her pipsqueak and kind of like belittles her. So clearly there's like a dynamic at play. I hate it. I don't care. She hates him too, but only because they're the same, or so her hallucination says.
You're just like me, pipsqueak.
She's freaking out. She's crying. She's pissing. She's farting. She's shitting. She's throwing up. And she grabs the piece again and thinks about like taking herself out of this plane of existence, but instead just ends up like maniacally laughing to herself. So she's clearly not well and struggling with a lot of things. And same. His face starts to fade as she hears him say that she will never get away from him. Time passes and she's sitting in Senile Susan. You remember her busted up VW van or whatever. And she's listening to some sort of a song on the radio and flipping the new gold card that has Enzo's name on it in her fingers because, she stole his identity. So she opened up a line of credit. She is sweating her ass off in this busted ass van when ding, an email comes through on her cell device. Don't you find it? Isn't it a bit strange that she's like on the lam trying not to be found? Like news coverage like says they spotted her in an airport. Like she's clearly national news and she still not only has a device that is completely trackable, but she is clearly still using an email that people from her old life have access to. She's on the run, like hackers in the chat. If I have some here, if I've got some computer science babies, let me know if this whole setup holds water, like that rock. So the email is from someone named Garrett, who is apparently besties with her brother Kevin, and he's basically just telling her like she needs to come home after what happened. She owes it to Kevin, and she needs to come back and face what she did. I don't know. Garrett and Kevin apparently became besties in the police academy. He's just another cop who believed my brother over me. And why wouldn't he? They'll always believe a cop over a civilian, even if I'm their twin sister. I mean, I agree, ACAB. However, I don't care a single shred about what she's talking about, what this could possibly be. I should, but I don't. I'm only here because I love you. She hops out of the van and clip-clops, flip-flops her way over to the bus station, and Simon is there, yay! Her and her favorite toe rush over upon seeing him, smiling like a fucking idiot. They have an overly familiar, stupid as conversation that is supposed to prove how wise he is, deepen their bond, and show how he just gets her, you know? But I can't bring myself to regurgitate any of it, and it's not relevant anyway. She's like, I want another tattoo. This one's healing really well. And he's like, there's time for that. And she's like, when? He's like, you'll know when the time is right. Okay. Chapter 6 is Enzo. We get our first Enzo chapter. Hooray! So we're with him. Under the sea. Grabbed onto the fin of a shark, a great white shark. There's something stuck in the shark's teeth. And so he's trying to retrieve it out of there. But he is seething with rage because that bitch stole from him. He noticed, she's gone the next day or the morning after, and he got an alert that a new line of credit was opened in his name. So he went and looked for it and has been watching the non-existent activity for a while now because she's not using it. I think she bought something small, but she's not actually using it. And he cannot understand for the life of him why she would do this to him. I can't either. It's a crepe paper plot. The anger coursing through my system is fucking astounding. If I didn't possess control over my emotions, it would have been dangerous for me to get into water today. You just said you're seething with rage. Sharks can feel when we're anything but relaxed. An elevated heart rate would be the Is it French now? Bellissimo! Sharks can feel when we are anything but relaxed. An elevated heart rate would be the equivalent to strapping seal guts to my body and going for a swim. It's French. I don't know what's going on. I can only beg your forgiveness. He gets the trash out of her mouth and resurfaces and is met by his right-hand man that helps him with his whatever named Troy.
Using Troy.
And as Troy, approaches him, he immediately clocks that his mood is off, which I think is funny because didn't you just say, you said that the sharks had like an uncanny ability to know that too.
If I wasn't so good at hiding my emotions.
Your human research partner detected it. He talks a little bit about sharks and his company, VORS, which stands for Vitale Oceanic Research for Salacians, and not what I had originally thought it stood for, which was Vicious Orgasm Retrieval Squad. Forgot I wrote that down. He gives a very Zaid Meadows rundown of how he built this from the ground up to research the creatures he loves so much and blah, blah, blah. And he did that with nothing except for, quote, funding he got from the government. He doesn't ever elaborate. Like, what government? What branch of government specifically gave you some sort of loan/grant to start an ocean research whatever? Like, okay. And I'm not Australian. This is in Australia, remember? So, like, I don't know what they're up to. It would be really nice if you did some research and knew what you were talking about before you said it to me. So that when I ultimately came to you with follow-up questions, I wouldn't have to because you would be able to explain it. But we aren't dealing with that kind of shit right now, okay? Let's just keep trudging forward, begrudgingly. Anyway, he tells Troy that the reason he's in such a sour mood is because his identity was stolen, and Troy's eyes booga out of his head like a goddamn cartoon. And Enzo just wants to hurt her,
whoever she actually is.
He huffs and puffs and climbs into an elevator that takes him down into his lab or whatever, all the while thinking to himself that he will get his identity back, but not through the help of authorities.
He's going to find her.
So it's been 3 weeks since they banged it out behind a waterfall, but only 2 days since his search started. Remembering like little bits and pieces of information she gave him during their first conversation, he is now trolling the beach, and wouldn't you know it, there she is. Wow, that was really hard. It's almost like she's terrible at this, at hiding, at being on the run, at being a criminal on the lam trying to avoid detection. It's like she's not good at it. So he's approaching her just as another woman approaches him to try to mac on him, and he's like, no, and you know, whatever. He spots his little thief right over there, which he starts calling her, which is Bella Ladra. Delicious. So yeah, he sees her right the fuck away, and that was so super easy. Like, where's the drama? Where's the tension? The thrill of the hunt? No? None of that? Okay. Yeah, no, that's fine. And he doesn't do anything to her right now, obviously witnesses. And so he just walks up and he's like, thought you didn't want to see me again. And she visibly bristles, but doesn't do anything except say back, just couldn't stay away, I guess.
She says, ending it with an awkward laugh.
This doesn't have to be weird. We saw each other naked. It wasn't anything special for either of us. I'm okay with keeping it moving. To which he raises a brow, which good. He doesn't arch a brow. We got a lot of that in hunting. But this one, he just raises it. This man is totally different than Zayd. Totally. Completely different than the Megalodon. Oh no, that's a shark. And he loves shark. Wow, the range. Anyway, he's not falling for this. Thinking to himself that he literally rocked her world with his, you know, and she's never had a dick like that before. Okay, you certainly think a lot of yourself. And then he is like, that was the freakiest night of her life. Why not let's continue this party? Let's keep it going and have the freakiest day of your life too. Like, he's inviting her to spend some more time with him. She's like, yeah, how? He says, shark. She says, you're cracked. He says, I'll keep you safe. And it's the truth. Wink.
I will keep her safe from the sharks, but not from me.
I'm never going to recover from my state doing this voice. Chapter 7 is Sawyer. Immediately she knows that agreeing to go with him is a mistake, but she goes anyway. He leads her to a massive boat. Everything has to be, you know, what we're dealing with here. And the guilt is burning inside her like his dick once did. I don't think that's in the book, but I wrote it. His boat's name is Johanna. I don't think it's relevant ever. It also has a shark cage kind of thing attached to the back of it. And she's like, no way, Jose. And he's like, my name is Enzo. And they didn't say that. I made that up. She's confusion too, because he's not acting like he knows anything. So maybe he doesn't. He coaxes her onto the boat like a fish in the ocean, you recall. And he does this by offering to finally kiss her. So they shove off into shark-infested waters. They banter, and it's stupid. And she makes him promise that he kisses her before they get eaten by sharks. So they're out in the open water. He asks her if she's nervous, and she's like, yeah, we're in a bowl of monster soup. Pretty sure I should have brought diapers. Oh, good. Good. Not just the piss stuff, but shit jokes too. Just keep them coming. We are blessed. He starts to walk slowly towards her, and she is retaining water over it. Or she isn't. I don't know. She's not good at explaining this analogy in a way that makes any sort of sense. She's wet, is what I'm saying. And he has a bucket of guts with him. Ah, good. Piss, shit, guts. Do you have it? The gang's all here. It's sad to me to report to you, so I'll hold your hand while I let you know that we don't get any boogers or snot content in this one. Or farting, I don't think. Oh my god. Is this HD Carlton? They talk about the sharks and their strong sense of smell and their powerful bite and their intuitive nature and how they don't actually like the taste of humans, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, maybe I shouldn't go. I wouldn't want to lose my favorite toe. His brow furrows.
Do I even want to know?
I point to my pinky toe. It's cute. Sharks like cute things. They eat seals. Seals are cute. Shut up. Shut up. He leads her to the back of the boat, has her kneel, and asks that she put her hand on either side of some sort of like plank extension. I don't know. She does, and then he gets all douchey about it. And I'm not saying he's wrong. I'm just saying I hate him.
You're touching an entire universe right now.
Oh, her hands are in the water.
A microscopic portion of a universe. It's an ecosystem full of millions of species. Some of them you couldn't even imagine.
I can only imagine.
What you're touching right now is sacred. It's to be respected. It is to be feared.
So he has chummed the water, so the sharks start to break the surface. Yikes. And he starts unbuttoning her pants. God help us all.
No go.
Fuck the sharks. I'm more concerned about the one behind me. Not another megalodon. Not another shark personified as a guy with a huge ding-dong. The range is just so vast deep, broad talent. So he lays, whatever the position, and now they're banging it out as usual, except then he decides, like, in the moment that he's like in there, he's like, I don't know how you can do this when you know you stole from me. Yikes. Caught red-handed and bare. She freezes in place, but it's literally too late. She's at his mercy, quite literally. He goes to kiss her, but doesn't. He ends up biting her lip enough to draw blood and then forces her head under the water where, if you recall, literal sharks are. So she's actively bleeding into the water where there are sharks. But it's like sexy because he's fucking her while he does it, She is gasping and freaking out, as anyone would be, and he pulls her up and puts her back down like a couple of times. And on the last one, she literally locks eyes with a shark that is beelining for her head, and he pulls her up just at the last minute before it bites her whole face off. He's still fucking her, mind you. He's doing all of this while fucking, and if that's not talent, I don't know what is. A lot of men claim that they can't multitask, and this man can lead her to the brink of death and then save her from it while her down. And like, we love a man who can multitask. So he's doing it, and then he like comes gooshes all over her, and she like crawls away, spitting and sputtering everywhere, and cries and tries to get away from him, but there's literally nowhere to go. They're on a boat. As she's gathering her clothes, she has this moment of like, I deserved that because of all the people I've hurt, and like, I don't know where my serious cap is. My kid stole it. Just so we're together on this, I just want it to be very clear that while we're having our little kikis and our laughs and our jokes and all of that stuff and talking about the horrific writing and everything like that, nobody deserves to be assaulted in such a way. Nobody deserves to be raped or brutalized in this way because of mistakes that they've made, because of bad things they've done. Like, that's not something that's true, okay? So if you needed to hear that today, that's me telling you that. Now we're gonna take the serious cap that I'm not wearing off and continue with the stupidity. He asks her flatly, like, why'd you do it? And also, ever heard of getting a job, when she explains herself a little bit. She doesn't tell him everything, but she's like, gives him an attitude about being like, yeah, I've thought about getting a job. Like, okay, but like, seriously, answer the question. Why didn't you just get a job and move? Listen, I finished this. I'm in the future, and I've read the entire thing, and I know what the big plot twist is. I know what the lore drop is. I know what all the secrets are that are like just so unbelievably dull and boring, and I don't care about. And so I can tell you right now that she could have just gotten a job. She could have moved to another country, adopted a new identity, and become employed there, and she wouldn't have had to do any of this. But I'm getting ahead of myself. So he's like, you're wanted for crimes, aren't you? And she's like, yep. And don't make ignorant assumptions about me. And he's like, what's your real name? What name should I have been moaning? Big picture, please. She throws another fake name at him, but he is not falling for it this time. He does not let up. So finally she does tell him that her name is Sawyer Bennett. And then he says, fuck, because, oh my God, what was that? A storm. A storm is a brewing, and they are out in the open ocean with no refuge to seek, and they are about to get got. The water gets choppier, and then she starts to maniacally laugh, saying, you brought me out here to make me think I'm going to die, and now look, we're both going to die. Ha! Hilarious. Chapter 8 is Enzo, and he is scrambling, freaking out, not only because he just did what he did, but now they're out in a storm, and they're both so screwed. Get it? Two ways, because they just, and also, yikes, So the water gets kind of choppy, and he's like struggling to maintain control. He loses it. The boat goes down, and they're like together with each other and holding on until they aren't. It's very Rose and Jack on the Titanic. Fingers crossed there are no doors floating nearby, and they both just sink quietly to the bottom. He searches for her, but since the sea is so unforgiving, he can't find her, and then something slams into him and everything goes dark or whatever. He comes to on a beach where her sweet voice is haunting him even in death. But no, he's not dead, actually. No, darn it. Darn you. He coughs up a boatload of water. Get it? And she's like, oh my God, thank God. God. No God. Listen, all this sounds super scary, and I just have one question in this whole thing. Did her favorite toe make it? Their eyes meet, and he's angry at himself for being glad that she's alive. Big old softy.
I may not want her dead, but that does not make her any less dead to me.
Aww. He has a small gash on his head, no biggie, and he pulls himself into a seated position and asks her how long she's been awake and runs his eyes over this large lighthouse that he sees on the shore with them. It is striped red and white, and it sits on a rocky cliffside and looks
right out of a horror movie or something.
if only. They get up and head towards the lighthouse because maybe someone's there, maybe there's a radio or something and they can call for help. He notices that her flip-flops did not seem to survive the crash and her feet are being cut up by sharp rocks, and he's like, good! But what about her favorite toe? Oh my god! As they approach the lighthouse, he thinks he sees something like go by a window, but he like shakes the thought off and they continue to climb the steps. Someone still lives here. I think I saw the beacon earlier.
We'll stay cautious.
Or do you think it's haunted?
I think ghosts are the least of our worries. Starvation and dehydration are a little more concerning.
Well, which is worse? Dying of hunger or dying of scary ghosts?
Which is quicker?
Okay. You got me there.
May the bean gods bless us.
The what?
The bean gods. Canned beans always survive the apocalypse. They're always the number one thing left in cabinets after the world ends. So I imagine they'll be in this abandoned lighthouse that potentially hasn't seen life since the dinosaurs.
There is so much wrong with what you just said.
Be careful though. The beans will give you flatulence. Never mind, guys. I said we didn't have any farting jokes. I was wrong. See, it does happen. Farting in an H.D. Carlton novel. Groundbreaking. Anyway, they get to the door, they knock, there's no answer. They creak inside because it's unlocked. It smells stale and moldy. He notices a bookshelf with a ton of books. Old children's books and all kinds of things. Sawyer notices a dirty dish in the sink, so she's like, we're not alone. And then they both notice a shotgun being pointed at Enzo's face. He gets shot, Sawyer is next. The end. JK. The man with the shotgun asks them questions, which Enzo gives valid answers to, but it isn't until our sweet baby angel lamb, Sawyer, starts to speak up that we see the lighthouse keeper visibly soften because she is just so darling. Enzo, seeing this, it experiences this possessive streak wash over him. The lighthouse keeper's name is Sylvester, and he says that they can stay. Not only is he an old man, but he also has a peg leg, like a literal wooden peg leg like a pirate, because of course he does.
You can stay.
Like, Enzo asks him about a radio. He says he doesn't have one, and he gives them some cups of coffee, to which our girl nudges Enzo and says, see, the bean gods did bless us with coffee beans. And honestly, if he doesn't drown her soon, I'm gonna take a crack at it. They exchange names because the lighthouse keeper asks them for it, and Enzo gets all butthurt because Sawyer gives him her real name, which, like, yeah, like, one, she doesn't know him, and it doesn't really seem like he poses a threat to her in any sort of a way. Like, he's living in isolation alone on this island. And two, you just banged her while simultaneously drowning her and letting sharks almost eat her alive. I'd say you're even now. She's cozying up to old Sil. Oh my god. Old Sil! Like, that's her nickname for him, by the way. Which prompts him to say, Enzo, to say to us that
there's nothing warm about her except her
which is really close to a joke I made earlier. Yikes, am I becoming an MMC in the H.D. Carlton universe? God, I hope not. Enzo doesn't really believe Sil when he says he doesn't have a radio. He's getting suspicious of him, so he starts asking him a bunch of questions.
How do you get these supplies here if there's no radio?
Have a radio. There's a did, but the cargo ship doesn't have any when it came through.
When does the cargo ship come through?
Once a month, but they were just here, so it'd be another month before they're back. See, I'm not good at these accents, and it's rough, but we're having fun, right? Please tell me you're having fun. So woo, they've got a month together at the very least. How exciting. And then Enzo requests to see the busted radio, and Sil obliges, and the batteries in the radio are still warm, so he's like even more suspicious. He's not sure what to make of it.
But he's not taking his eyes off of this guy.
Sawyer kicks her literal feet up, favorite toe and all, next to the fire, and Sil gets a first aid kit so he can like help her bandage her feet or whatever. And he grabs some dry clothes of his to put on for them, and that's so sweet, even though they smell a little stale, a little rank, a little moldy. They chat a bit with old Sil. This place is called Raven Isle. He named it himself. He's been here since 1978. Has a generator and solar panels for electricity, etc. Enzo is actually the one that's cleaning her wounds, and he does so roughly and is happy to be able to continue to cause her pain. Again, I think you're even, my dude. Maybe back the fuck up a little bit, but whatever.
It's nothing like what he plans to do to her. Dun dun dun.
I'm so tired already, and we have so much more to go. Like, this is insane, actually. Oh, so let me get comfortable. Let me put my socks on. No feet for free. You got a little bit earlier, I think, when I sat over here, but you're not getting any more. Chapter 9 is Sawyer, and she hates him. Of course she does. I hate him. See, I told you. I loathe him. If I could physically rip out every word that defines him as an asshole from the dictionary and shove it down his throat, I would. What? That doesn't make any sense. What the hell are you talking about? If I could physically rip out every word that defines him as an asshole from the dictionary and shove it down his throat, I would. So, first of all, dictionaries have the smallest print known to man, right? So I think if you ripped out every word that whatever the fuck you just tried to say and shoved it down his throat, he wouldn't even feel a tickle. It wouldn't block his airway, not whatsoever. But aside from that, if I could rip out every word that defines him as an asshole from the dictionary, I don't think there are any words in the dictionary that define Enzo as an asshole. I'm going off the American Dictionary, Standard Oxford, whatever, and maybe that's different in Australia, but I don't know what you're talking about. Like maybe if you said every word that means asshole, sure, but you didn't say that. You said something way dumber. So they're all three sitting in the dim room as she's getting her feet bandaged, and she's kind of starting to freak out a little bit because she's a runner. That's what she does. And now there's nowhere for her to run to. You may be a runner, but you're not a good one. And it's probably for the best that your feet are cut up because now you have to stay put. But anyway, after, she recovers for a little bit and her feet are bandaged, Sylvester says that he's going to show them to their room. Singular. One room and only one bed. So they head upstairs for the grand tour and he lets them know that he has like a firm 9 p.m. curfew. He wants them in their room by that time because he doesn't know them and this is his house and he doesn't want them wandering around at night for no reason, whatever. He even went as far as to put a bucket in their room for when nature calls. Yikes. And upon hearing this, Sawyer is so stunned that she kind of stops walking, which causes Enzo to bump into her, which causes her to then say that she, quote, is too stunned to hardly care. From the people who brought you Sometimes I'm Not Always Sane comes the brand new Too Stunned to Hardly Care. She says a couple more dumb shit things here. She says, my mouth opens, then closes. Then, very next sentence, she looks over at Enzo and sees that he's chill, so she, quote, snaps it shut once again. I thought it was closed already. You said it opens, then closes. Did you open it to snap it? I don't know what you're doing. A couple of sentences after that, when they enter the room that they will now be sharing, she, quote, glues her teeth shut, and I just can't deal with all of this. They're in the room, Syl says goodnight and turns to leave, and then they hear a click, and they're like, did he just? And yes, he did. He locked them inside their room for the night. Enzo angrily bangs his fists against the door, which if I were Sylvester would only confirm that I made the right choice in locking him in there. A man who expresses himself through violence, yeah, you're locked down. He only has one leg. Like, no, calm down, buddy. Enzo's like, I can take him. And she's like, you've got some nerve judging me when now you're threatening to take out an old man just because he locked us in a room. And he's like, you're one to talk. And she's like, yeah, but you should be better than me. And he's like, not difficult to do. Ouch, roast mode, sick burn. They change clothes and they, don't look at each other while they do it because Syl brought them a change of clothes, remember? And she says that they smell musty, but they're better than the, quote, salt-dried clothes covered in sand. And to that I say, are they? Like, are the musty clothes better? Because you can just shake the sand out, and also if salt dried, they're dry. So just rumple them up a little bit to soften them and shake them out, and then you can just wear your own clothes. Whatever, who cares? They argue over who's going to take the floor because they are not sleeping in the bed together. No way, Jose. But they are, and they do. They end up both sleeping in the bed, and they each take, their own side or whatever. They are not happy about it. And then they fall asleep. She is wishing she was anywhere but here. She's woken up a couple hours later because Enzo is thrashing in his dream sleep, whatever, and bonks her in the head. My word, not hers. And seeing this, she tells us that she's always had nightmares, and her mom used to call them brain demons when she was little. How cute. So quirky. Oh my god. She doesn't like regular girls who have bad dreams. Oh no. She has brain demons. Spook is a brain demon. She's still laying there and just reflecting on this predicament and how she always runs and blah, 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 same old, same old. And then she hears noises from outside. There's something right outside our door. An eerie feeling cascades over me when the sound becomes more apparent. Chains. The clanging of metal chains and them dragging slowly across the wooden floor. It reminds me of the sound of a dangerous prison inmate pacing back and forth. This is highly specific and even more stupid. What does a dangerous prison inmate dragging chains sound like that's so different than just literally anyone dragging a chain around? Like, does it sound, since we're here, does it sound like they're wearing orange head to toe? Or does it sound like they're in that whole rustic vintage black and white stripe kind of thing? You let me know, because obviously you have like a sense of hearing that is also visual in some sort of a way. And while we're still here, what the fuck do you mean it reminds you of that? Reminds you would indicate that you have a memory attached to this sound, so that when you hear the sound, you are then reminded of said memory. When were you around dangerous prison inmates dragging chains back and forth? Dork. She gets more emotional at the sound of the super duper dangerous criminal chain gang, and then the noise just disappears. She's still reflecting on the events of the night, like the capsizing and the swimming and the dying and the almost drowning and the feet and the sharks and the man and the man, you know. She was scared when he didn't wake up, and then she was sad but how disappointed he looked when he did wake up and see that she didn't drown on the boat. I wish I drowned on the boat. She slips her hand into Enzo's and quietly cries about all of this stuff. And she wonders what Kevin would say if he could see her now. Something about all men being bad and he was all she needed, apparently. Kevin was all she needed. And Enzo stirs, so she jerks her hand away real quick, and he notices that she's crying, and he's like, what are you doing? And she's like, nothing. And he's like, you're crying. And she's like, nuh-uh. Chapter 10 is Enzo. Okay, so it's the next day, and Syl has let them know that, you know, rations are scarce, and he doesn't have enough food to go around, so they are now tasked with taking to the sea and trying to catch their own supper, I guess, with their bare hands, I am to assume. Enzo tells us, though, he doesn't fish because it's actually killing the ecosystem. And I'm like, shush. I know your whole thing is saving the ocean. Yes, I know that overfishing populations of sea life is damaging to everything, right? I get that. But what is the alternative here? Starve? Like, one person literally fishing for their actual food so that they can survive is not dismantling the ecosystem. That's just not the case. Like, fishing for one's own survival is different than overfishing on a constant basis. Like, I need you to be for real and shut the fuck up. They're not having any luck, so Sawyer has this genius idea all of a sudden, and she runs off back to the lighthouse to get started on it. Quote, she rushes towards the lighthouse, skipping over the sharp rocks with ease, despite her feet still being injured. At least she has them wrapped this time. So this woman has open wounds on her feet, and she got them yesterday. So they're pretty fresh still. They have been cleaned and wrapped, yes, but now she's not only able to hop, skip, and jump her way across the jagged rock shore of the beach that they're on, but also stand in the ocean and attempt to catch fish. She's begging for an infection. I swear to God. First, like, tattoo, waterfall sex, and now this. She comes back so thrilled because Sylvester let her borrow a cane, a knife, and some duct tape, saying that he only let her borrow it if she promises not to break it. And Enzo's like, you break everything you touch. Again, a sick burn. And he's sitting in the ocean, and he should be showing it nothing but reverence because it's his literal favorite thing, but all he wants to do is give it to her. But, like, I don't see why there has to be a choice made here. Like, you can revere both of them at the same time. This is not the food rations that there's not enough to go around. Plus, like, you don't have to give her anything because she stole your identity, and so why would you want to show her reverence and respect? I don't okay, that makes no sense, but sure. She assembles her Mouse-Ka-Tool.
Mouse-Ka-Tools! Mouse-Ka-Tools! Mouse-Ka-Tools!
That's a surprise tool that'll help us later! And heads back into the surf to try and snag something for their supper. She tries, she fails, he belittles her and scooches ever closer while she's continuing to try. And she's like, I've been doubted my whole entire life, dude. I'm capable of more than you think. But you're bad at everything and, like, really dumb. She does manage to snag something, though. She stabs a kingfish, which looks like this. And he tries to take it from her, and she's like, nuh-uh, get your own. So he starts belittling her again and saying, like, no, we're a team now, and you need to do what you do best, which means killing anything that gets close to you. And this comment that he makes her kind of go dark. Like, she hollows out, and then she just keeps fishing. He's like, I don't know what that's about, but okay. Later, back at the lighthouse, he and Sylvester are sitting downstairs, and she comes in with not one, but 3 more kingfish. She took her shirt off and has them wrapped in it, and so, you know, she presents it to him, and Enzo notices that Sylvester is just gawking at her exposed bikini top body. It makes Enzo want to stab him. Cute. Syl stops drooling because he notices Enzo's death stare and asks Enzo, like, well, she's skilled at this. Let's hope your skill is cooking. And he's like,
yeah, I cook, but I don't eat fish, so we'll see how this turns out.
And then Sylvester says,
never met a man who turned down meat.
And then Enzo tells us,
his implication that I am not a real man is obvious, but him being sorely mistaken is also fucking obvious.
And
I'm not threatened by Sylvester that I lack confidence in my manhood. He can think what he wants. It doesn't make him any better than me.
Really? Because it sounds like you are and he is. He's 80 with a peg leg and you're taking time out of your day to flex on him about how superior of a man you are and you don't have to eat meat to prove it. And how you're not threatened by him. And also, like, when people usually say things like this, like never met a man to turn down meat before, like, I feel like that's more like red meat, you know, like a red-blooded, good old man eating steak and taters, you know, like, not fish. Like, it's not the same thing. Like, fish doesn't have masculinity tacked onto it. I don't think so. The act of fishing, sure, we see bunches of Tinder profile pics of men holding fish, but as a fisherman myself, it's not really, I just don't get the correlation, but I feel like I'm thinking too much and we've already talked about how that's not allowed here, so let me just see myself out. Sawyer spills that Enzo loves sharks and he studies them, and Syl's like, oh cool, we get a lot of them here, and he's like,
we? Who is we?
Oui. That's French. And Syl's like, us. But Enzo's not falling for it. And he feels like he's hiding something, so he mentions, he's like, you know, we heard some movement last night, like somebody moving around, which is a totally normal way to describe it. Notice how he didn't say, like, I heard some dangerous criminals, about 6'2", 180 to 220, dragging these chains around, probably like welded galvanized steel. He sounded blonde as well. You notice how he didn't do that? He just said, heard someone walking around last night. So that's when Syl spills that actually there was a prison ship, Dark Knight style, I guess, that crashed offshore a few years ago and only 4 prisoners made it back.
Dangerous criminal men, right?
They're rapists, they're murderers. And he let them stay outside in tents, but 2 of them decided that that wasn't good enough and they tried to take the lighthouse from him, and so he took them out.
They died with those chains around their ankles.
How did they get to shore if they were shackled and chained? Chains are heavy. You know what? No, just forget it. Enzo's like, bullshit. But it is clear that Sawyer believes every word. So she asks, do they like touch you and shit? The ghost. And Syl's like,
nah, they're harmless. I spare her a glance before concentrating on the sizzling fish. They may be harmless, but I am not. And something tells me Sylvester isn't either.
Yes, much scary, very dange. Chapter 11 is Sawyer.
Enzo's like, I don't trust him.
And Sawyer says something so stupid that I don't care to repeat it, but it's basically the equivalent of,
that's obvious, Finn. You don't have to say that out loud.
Only dumber. And Enzo stalks around, huffing and puffing and blowing her house down with his brand new idea, going to snoop around Syl's room and see if he can find anything. To which Sawyer says, why must you harass the old man? He's just out here living his life and you're questioning the direction he pees in? Maybe his penis curves to the side. Who was talking about this? What the fuck are you talking about? So she follows him out there because he is going to go do this. And she's like conflicted on whether or not she's going to go, but she says, quote, try as I might to deny it, I have an attraction to doing the wrong things. Name me a time you've ever denied this. So while they're snooping, she finds some Polaroids, and it looks like Syl had a family at one point. There's a woman, a young baby daughter, and then in a couple other pictures, there's another daughter, so that's 2 daughters and a wife. The daughters' names are Trinity and Casey, which Raven is the mom, so that makes sense that he named it Raven Isle after his great love or whatever. And then she finds another picture of a naked woman standing in the ocean with her hand over her mouth. And for some reason, this causes her heart to skip a beat and palpitate, and she drops the pictures. The photos just felt sinister, I guess, but I don't really know, and there's no time to explain because
they hear old peg leg Syl coming up the stairs.
She starts to freak out, which just confirms my theory that she's bad at everything. How are you a lifelong criminal known for stealing people's identities and you spook by sounds on the stairs? By a man who is disabled, so he probably moves a little slower than You do. She and Enzo both duck into the closet to hide, and Syl comes in to take a nap. This is his room, remember? And she considers making a run for it, but she hears Kevin's voice in her head being like, he'll kill you, Pipsqueak, which I assume and accurately predicted at this point in the script that this little shit thing will be just as relevant as Gigi and her journals in Haunting Adeline. I was right. So she's in the closet and she's like panicking because she's a little claustrophobic. And so Enzo decides to comfort her by a small act of compassion and just like making her feel seen and like safe in this moment. And so he like holds her and like they match their breathing. He's like, breathe with me. He talks her through it and all this other stuff. And that's not what happened. I'm lying to you. This is a dark romance. Okay? We can't have like a natural progression of feelings and like their relationship going through these strange circumstances, and they bond together through them and the forced proximity that make the aforementioned circumstances even more frequent, deepening their relationship and forcing them to examine their feelings for one another at every turn. No, we're not doing that here. So what actually happens is he finger pops her to the finish line to calm her down. Talks the whole time too. Hey, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. He's right there. I'm gonna go outside this door and I want you to tell me, I'll see when I edit this, if you can hear me. That's it. Quiet. Do you hear me? Okay, probably not. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see. I lose myself. My arousal embarrassingly audible as he pumps in and out. So he is sloshing around her bits, feet away from a sleeping old man. Syl is snoring pretty loudly. Also, just a note, but oh my God, like,
what is the point of this?
He asks the title question again. Does it hurt? Over and over again, he asks it. Blah, blah, blah. I'm bored, I'm tired, I need a nap. I need a snack, I need to lie down. She arrives, they bicker quietly next to the sleeping old man, and then at one point they both just slip out undetected, and she's like, he doesn't deserve my body. If only I could stop giving it to him. Chapter 12 is Sawyer, and we open to her POV, assumedly hearing her dead brother's voice in her head, berating her, calling her a whore, no one will ever love you, blah, 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 blah. So this is a moment where I feel like we can talk about how I don't feel like this author has the skill to fully flush out any of the side plots that she ever introduces. And that's okay, but like stop adding them if you're at capacity and you can't possibly like lead us down a path that ends fruitfully and has resolutions for everything that makes sense. It's like she's weaving all these different strands and one of them works out and the other ones are like, oh yeah, that happened. Anyway, Kev's talking to her and this plus hottie Enzo has her just steamed. Blood is pooling in my head from shame and embarrassment, and beneath the hot sun, I'm confident a plane could see my tomato red face clear as day from 10,000 feet above. Who needs a goddamn radio when my hatred for men could signal an alien race from an entire galaxy away? Could you signal them and tell them that I would like to be picked up?
Mom, can you pick me up? I'm scared.
So this is the chapter that's almost like completely pointless, but like she discovers, so she's wandering the beach and she discovers like a whole crack.
Say crack again.
Crack opening in the side of a rock wall or whatever, and she goes in to investigate and it's a cave. Wow. She has to get down so low, practically on her butt, so that she doesn't fall down the very steep decline at the entrance of the thing. She over explains this, and that's like 7 seconds I'll never get back. The inside of the cave is like mesmerizing. She's almost moved to tears because the ceiling looks like diamonds.
Beautiful like diamonds in the sky.
Shine bright like a diamond.
And it has a beautiful like crystal blue pool of water at the center of this cave. So she spends practically the entire day in the cave just staring at the ceiling and like going over how annoyed she is with everything, the circumstances, Enzo's constant tossing and turning and whatever. And I am summing this up greatly for you. And again, no need to thank me, but if you do feel the need, you should join my Bindery or my Patreon or my YouTube, whatever you want to do. You just do whatever you want. This is my business. You just do you. So you got to have peace for that, but I still don't get peace because Enzo, like, she's back in the bed somewhere. So she goes home and she's in the bed and blah, blah, blah. And then Enzo like yeets her out of the bed, diva down, and a scuffle breaks out, a little slap fight, whatever. God damn it, Sawyer, what is wrong with you? You fucking mammoth.
She's a mammoth, of course.
She threatens to drown him and he says, do you honestly think you scare me? A shrimp is more intimidating than you. I gasp. That is so fucking rude.
Excuse much, rude or anything?
He pins her down and says some dumb shit about her being evil or whatever. And he also says that he can still smell her on his fingers despite washing them several times. Are you saying that she stinks? Like, what, okay. Is that supposed to be an insult? Is that supposed to be a compliment? Like, at one point, am I supposed to be offended? The boring bickering turns into boring, angsty flirting, I guess, when he grinds against her a little bit and she says, Enzo. I snap, but it comes out breathy. His lips lightly skim across the shell of my ear. Get it? Shell, because we're in an ocean. Beach, shell. Whoa, we got,
Would you scream this time?
He questions darkly.
You always do when you create your own little ocean all over me.
Ocean. She's like, no, I don't want it. He calls her a liar, but then he freezes because he sees something outside the window. She sees it too. A woman standing in the surf. They try to call out to her, but the woman doesn't move. She doesn't answer. And this wakes up Sylvester. They tell him about the girl who, oh my God, she's gone. And Syl's like, ain't no one out there. He leaves and they look at each other stunned. Must be another ghost. Chapter 13 is Enzo. He's super peeved because every day this week, Sawyer disappears without a trace. Where does she go? He asked her once and she said, Nunya business. So one day after she leaves, he just follows her. Genius. Never would have thought of that. He spots the cave and it pisses him off that she's keeping something from him. Actually, quote, something about her keeping that from me pisses me off. That is a horrible sentence. Just not, it's very clunky and awkward and I don't think it's technically or grammatically incorrect or anything. I just think that it's foul. Plus, she doesn't have to tell you shit. Hello? So, he's worried that she might be hurt and that's why she's gone. So he goes into the cave and his only goal is to make sure she's not hurt and then leave. What are you doing down here?
I turn around finding Sawyer standing there, her wild curls around her face. This is where you've been going?
You know the song Obsessed by Mariah Carey? I think she knew what she was doing when she wrote it. Is it impossible for her to just have a goddamn conversation? You always have to have these little quips. This is not how people talk to each other unless they're trapped on the set of a sitcom. Like, this is just not normal, natural dialogue between humans. Hey, this is where you go? Alexa, play blah, blah, blah. Like, it's not actually how conversation works. So they talk some more about how it's predictable, boring, pointless banter about how he's obsessed, but she's a terrible person. It's just round and round. We keep doing this. And then she asks him about the ceiling because it kind of glows. It has this like effervescent glow. And it's actually not snails. If you get that one, you're a real one. It's glowworms. He tells her that it's glowworms. And what do you mean this is a bug cave? I Googled it and it does look very pretty. But what do you mean? It's a bug cave with larvae just dripping from the ceiling and yuck. She is staring and he tells her to close her mouth before something drops in it. And it's just like yuck. And quote,
the click of her teeth audible from several feet away.
Okay, did she shatter her fucking teeth? God damn. From a few feet away? Let's try it. We're doing so many experiments today. She asks why they glow. He explains it because he's big smart. He steps closer and apparently there's a tension between them, or at least I'm told that there is. He says, you stole from me, but I'll do so much worse to you. Okay, when? When's that gonna come up? I'm so tired of you talking. You're just talking. Shut the fuck up. She asks if he's going to hurt her and he's like, yeah. She's like, how? He's like, Nunya. Are you gonna try and fuck me?
Never, not even if you beg.
She's like, not gonna happen. He's like, you're already wet. Feel it. And she's like, nah. And he's like, do it or I will. So she does. She enters into her own and swirls around a little bit. And when she brings her hand out, he holds it up high to the ceiling where the glowworms are and says,
look at that. You can glow too.
Oh man, I wish I was dead. So confirmed, this bitch is part glowworm. That's a funny joke I made. He leaves and he's happy because he shamed her and now he knows that she feels bad and embarrassed and stuff, but he's excited because he gets to go rub one out thinking of her. Hooray. Chapter 14 is Sawyer again. She gets back to the lighthouse and old Syl pats a spot next to him on the couch and she, sits down. Gross. Vibes are off. Bad idea. But she is still seething. Kevin shows up and it's like, why? No clue. Nothing will come from it. But whatever. She sits and old Syl starts rubbing her shoulders. And for a criminal mastermind on the run, she has zero self-preservation skills. I'm not saying that she's to blame for him being all gross and whatever. Like, not to victim blame. But like, you said that he's giving you a weird vibe. She says it in the book that it's a weird vibe. But that Enzo doesn't seem to mind, so it must just be in her head, or he doesn't seem to notice, so it must just be in her head, And Enzo hates you and likes to see you suffer. So maybe he's not a good barometer. Maybe trust yourself, trust your intuition. She's rubbing her shoulder. She tries to shrug him off. It does not work. I've never been good at confrontation. Throwing up the peace sign and moonwalking out of the vicinity is my go-to response. Is that how she boarded the plane? Because that's not how, like, she dealt with the confrontation at the airport. She didn't peace sign and moonwalk. She trash talked, freaked out, and sprinted away, sweating, I believe. So that's her go-to response, is it? That, and then her daily mantra is, fuck you. Hashtag adulting. Hashtag badass bitch. Enzo walks in, and this causes Syl to, like, tighten his grip on her shoulders. Almost like he's trying to claim her. Yeah. He's like, what's all this? And Syl's like, just talking. Plus, I don't see your name on her. And then Enzo threatens him, and she jumps up and walks away. She's sitting on the bed a little later, and Sylvester comes to apologize. Enzo's gone, and she's like, he's probably in my cave. But that's not fair, because it's mine. This is very, like, colonizer of you. Like, have you never seen Pocahontas? You can't own a bug cave. The bug cave belongs to everyone. Anyway, he apologizes and she's like, fine, as long as everyone keeps their hands to themselves. And he says some gross misogynist shit about like, well, you dress like this, so what do you expect? It's like, literally, she's shipwrecked. This was the outfit she had on. But anyway, this gives her a great opportunity to put on her feminism hat and let him have it. I didn't write it down. Enzo shows back up and the boys have a glare off where no one wins, least of all me. Syl locks them in and says he changed the bedtime to 7 p.m. So now they're trapped in there. She gives Enzo the cliff notes of her and Syl's exchange. She's like, did he touch you? I'll kill him if he did. She's like, you're one to talk. You tried to drown me. And he's like, yeah, I did. And I'd do it again, bop bop, as my bestie Rachel would say, because only I can touch you. Only I get to hurt you. Dreamy. She's like, did cavemen raise you? And he's like, if you would call nuns cavemen. What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? And also, while we're here on What the Fuck Island, what do you mean that the lighthouse looked like it hasn't seen life since the dinosaurs? Lighthouses were built by men, human being, Homo sapiens, which in the long line of human evolution, like Homo habilis, Neanderthals, all these people, the dinosaurs predated humans. And so there wouldn't have been a lighthouse. I'm thinking again. I gotta kick that habit. So they swap words. It's boring, blah, blah, blah. And then she drops some like pretty useless lore about how when she was little, her mom used to stand her in the corner, even though it was Kevin that did something wrong, and like count me in as what the fuck do I give a shit? And she's like, I don't care what happens to you. And Enzo's like, I care what happens to you because I want to be the one that gets to destroy you. So Rocket, this is so repetitive and boring. 40% in and nothing happened. Like he just keeps delivering these gruffly whispery threats. This is what I'm talking about. Like this wasn't as mind-numbing and like mentally taxing and driving me bonkers reading it the way Haunting Adeline was, because it was just so, you recall. If you haven't watched that yet, go watch it. But like this one is so boring. It's just, I hate him. I want to destroy you. I'm not scared. This shark's not the most dangerous thing on this island. I'm going to hurt you. Oh, look at that. It's so Rocket o'clock. Chapter 15 is Sawyer. So at a certain point, we see her reading a book about lighthouses. You remember there's a lot of books in the house. So she's reading a book about lighthouses and she realizes that she needs to look for the beacon. She was reading like a history of the island or something book that is weird that he has it. Like, how would that even get here? Because obviously the island existed and he named it, and then he started lighthouse keeping for it. He had a family, and then someone else wrote this book about the island's history with the name that he gave it. Like, it doesn't make any sense, the timeline of that whole thing. But she mentions that there were no prisoner ships. There had been a lot of shipwrecks noted in the docket or whatever, but no prisoner ships, which is odd. But anyway, she's off to look for the beacon, because if there is a ship or someone passing by, they can signal to them with the beacon and maybe get rescued. He asks her why she's looking for the beacon, because he's dumb, and she explains it, and so she gives a stupid answer, like, so I can stare in it. And he asks her again, and he says her name kind of like sexily, and she says that it's really good that he never moaned my name during sex, not my real one anyway, because, quote, it is much more dangerous than shipwrecking in the middle of the ocean during a storm. Ask anybody. She would have fallen for him. That's the problem. End quote. What? So he pins her against the wall. The entire expanse of my body is flattened against the wall, and once more I'm faced with the unbending fact that I can't walk through solid objects. So this isn't the first time that she's mentioned something being able to pass through solid objects or something. It is the first time I noted it. I don't know what the fuck she's talking about. It seems stupid, but I would guess that maybe down the road somewhere she's faced with like a ghost that isn't a ghost, and so they can't, nothing passes through it. Like, it's just setting it up. I can see it though. I can see that being like, oh my god, my jaw pops open. Either I have the ability to move through solid things, or this is a ghost, you know, kind of thing. Or like the opposite, where they think it's a ghost and it's not, it's a person, and so it's a solid mass that can't be moved through or something. I don't really understand. It's either that, or it's something to continue to illustrate her quirky little mind and her silly little thoughts. And honestly, it's anyone's guess. She finally thinks to herself, you know what? He's using his body to push me around. It's time I do the same thing.
The messers become the messies.
I cast my gaze to the floor long enough to gather courage that is entirely fabricated, then lift my eyes back to him, allowing myself to feel the throb radiating between my thighs and the way his proximity made my nipples tighten painfully. Now listen. Never in my life have my nipples tightened to the point of pain, unless we want to talk about breastfeeding. And I don't think we do. Do we? I don't think we do. He grabs her by the throat and presses into her so deep, quote, our lungs just might entwine. How am I supposed to breathe with no air? If all my oxygen is going to him instead. So they're having this alleged heated sex-fueled exchange that has me bored. And he pulls away just as things are heating up, or so I'm told, and she's left needy about it. You're nailing this whole use your body to make him uncomfortable thing. Your new name should be Hammer.
You can't touch this.
Because you're nailing this. She begs because she's pathetic. Girl, stand up. And he berates her again and says she's nothing and he hates her, blah, you know, and her eyes fill with tears and she hates him too. Is this supposed to be engaging? Like, am I supposed to feel like I'm in heat over this? Because aside from it being a little warm in here because the sun's position in this window, I'm good. They both stop because the chain sounds are happening again upstairs. Oh my god, dangerous criminal, people with chains. He calls out, hello, no answer, and they resume. God, this is so bland. This book is an unseasoned chicken cutlet if I ever saw one. Wait, no, ocean, aquatic, uncooked, unseasoned shrimp with the tail still on. More dragging sounds. Her heart is about to burst out of her chest cavity because of how hard it's beating. I'm sorry. It sounds like someone is stomping or slamming their fist into the floor above us, hard enough that I can feel it tremble the ground beneath my feet.
I feel the earth move under my feet.
More banging. And at this point in the script, I am asking you, the audience, what are the chances that this is not Ghost and it's just Syl's family? That he has chained in the attic or something. Some weird shit like that. I don't know. I'm in the future, so I do know, but I don't know. So she starts to run outside and she slips, and Enzo thankfully is behind her. So he grabs her and keeps her from face planting, and he takes her outside to get some air. And Syl sees them and wanders up, and she says, heart attack. You are not having a heart attack. Dying, I wheeze. Need the water police. Call 911. I'm only met with silence, but I would hardly be able to hear them past the thumping in my ears anyway. Did she just say water police? Ignore her. 911 isn't even the right number to call. Well, did she hit her head or something? I wish I could say yes, but that's just so yeah, she's just stupid usually. This is a Tuesday for her. Okay, you know what? I can't, I shan't, and I won't. I need to break. I need to cut this into two because this is extreme. This is so ridiculous. And I am so tired and I am hungry and my kids are going to be home soon and the clock is ticking and this is taking way longer than I anticipated. So, hate to do it to you. However, this is going to be the end of this section of the video, and please come back soon to watch the part 2. And like, it's not my fault. If you want to be mad at anybody, be mad at the person who wrote this book because it could have been cut in half and they didn't want to. They wanted to over-exposit, over-explain, dumb the language down, make things circular, go round and round over and over and over again. Nothing's even happening. So this really isn't on me. This is on... So, I love you, okay? You don't have to say it back, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!